Hi, everyone. Good evening. Hello, hello, hello. Sorry, I'm a little bit later than what I was anticipating. This is pretty much my life. This is why I can't pre-plan live streams because every single time that I pre-plan a live stream, I end up being busy. So here we are, though. We are here now. We are going to go ahead and start day 6 of court. I think I'm anticipating that we'll be able to get through the whole day. I was looking at kind of some of the clips and things like that that have come out. It seems like today is going to be another emotional day. The girl that we had talked about the other day in the chat about who had accused him of SA whenever she was a child, she actually testifies today. So I anticipate that that is going to be a pretty emotional testimony about his character and the type of person that he is. So just prepare yourself for that emotionally, so that you know that that's coming. Hi BC, hi Libby, good to see you ladies. We're going to go ahead and get started, though. They jumped pretty much right into this. They were talking. I like to watch from this channel because they kind of put up the little graphics and things like that throughout and say who they are, and then they do the little chit chat. So if I'm slow on the jump ahead, that there's at least somebody talking. So anyways, let me stop yipping and yapping and get right into it. Hello to whoever is watching on Kick. I see you over there. If anybody wants to or cares to, we are streaming on Kick now. Also, I will drop that link and pin it at the top so that you guys know how to find me over there. If I ever get banned on YouTube, that's where I'm going to end up. Let's be honest, because honestly, the way that YouTube is now, it's very unpredictable with the way that they have AI monitoring things and things of that nature. And so, one wrong slip up can lead to a community violation and things like that. And that's hard doing true crime and not being able to say the words. Well, it's not so much hard. I mean, it is hard because I want to say the words, but it's also very annoying to not be able to say, what actually happened. Again, whenever stuff gets emotional and stuff like that, please feel free to fill the chat with pink hearts for Athena. Just justice for Athena is really what we're focused on here. That precious child in the top right hand corner of your screen. That's what this whole trial is about. And watching this dog get put down, because that's what he needs. This animal needs just put to rest. So, all right, let's go.
On scene at the time?
Yes, sir.
And you said you were there?
Yes.
And then who else was there?
My wife.
At the time that Tina Horner delivered this package to you, how old, if you remember, were your two girls?
My youngest daughter would be in her and I think we're the same age. So.
Okay. And then the one is older?
And then the older one is 2 years older.
So at the time it would have been 7 and 9?
Yes.
And as far as that, what was Tina Horner doing on your property at that time?
He was delivering a keyboard.
Present for the kids?
Yes. For my youngest.
And this was the day before that Athena went missing?
Yes.
On the same road where Athena went missing?
Yeah, I'm going to object, I believe.
Over just for purposes of this hearing. And at some point, did you have a chance to review the video with regard to the instance of Mr. Horner delivering a package to your house?
Yes, sir.
And that particular portion of the video that you viewed, did that fairly accurately represent what you saw about your property back in the 90 days?
Yes, sir.
Now, other than the package, anything else go on with that?
No, just, out of conversation.
You have to engage with him to propose his bill.
Yes, sir.
But other than that, that's it.
Yes, sir.
That's what
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Huffman, when Mr. Horner came up to your property, your wife was outside with children, correct?
Not initially.
And when you drove up, you said you reviewed the video, so when you drove up, is it true that he asked to speak to an adult who was present?
I don't know.
Oh, you said you reviewed the video,
Yes.
and on that video, did he not say, I need to speak to an adult? Say it was a Christmas time precaution?
Right. I believe that's, I don't know verbatim what was said, but.
And Mr. Horner stayed in his truck until an adult came out. So when your wife came out, he was still in the truck, still had seatbelt on, and had window down, is that right?
At least partly. I believe he was in his truck. I don't know about seatbelts.
He stayed in the truck until someone came out and basically said it's okay for him to get out into the truck. All right.
I think that's fair. Question is, yeah, I don't remember exactly what was said.
And all this time, the wife felt like this is what we got down there.
Not the entire time, but, I mean, I came out quickly, you know.
So somebody was with the kids when Tanner was present, is that correct?
After we come out, yes, not initially.
So when you said that you had idle conversation, what did you talk about?
There again, I don't recall exact verbatim what was said, other than, you know, I remember the alluding to, you know, not wanting to ruin any Christmas surprise. And I think there was a little bit of talk about, you know, musical instruments, musicians, because my girls are both into music, and I guess he had mentioned being a drummer or something.
But there was nothing about that conversation that you talked,
No,
was there?
no, not at the time.
And then after this idle conversation, Tanner got back in the truck and started to drive away, but you're the one that noticed that he forgot to close the door.
Yes.
And you two laughed about it.
I think so.
And then you closed the door and then he drove away.
Yes.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Pretty correct. Do you, first of all, if you'll do me a favor, step out in the back, okay? And we'll call you back in. Will it be in the picture?
Yes, Your Honor, it's wholly irrelevant. He said that Mr. Warner was acting odd, that in fact it didn't cause to think anything was odd. There's really nothing about this that really helps the jury to determine the fact of the issue.
So this video in and of itself shows Warner's actions 24 hours almost to the minute from the time of the kidnapping and murder of the child. Additionally, Judge, what we showed on video and what makes this more relevant as part of the video is we covered up the camera on almost exactly the same time before he entered and went to the Hutton residence as he did when he went to the train. It is a pattern that we have established by putting him on that he's there, who always there.
How long was the video?
His portion of the video is, I mean, it's probably less than 5 minutes.
And about 4 minutes, and
Do I need to look at it?
as you like.
I mean, will there be an objection specifically to the video, or is everything encompassed in his testimony?
Everything will be encompassed in my objection to his testimony. If the state wishes to go into what they said they wanted to, this is not the witness to do it with. I believe they're bringing the person who can verify and authenticate the truck videos, but what they're trying to show through this witness is not relevant to anything. Basically, all it shows is that Aaron made a delivery, and that's it.
So do you anticipate playing the video through this witness or through the witness that you anticipate would sponsor the video of the...
Not through this witness.
Okay.
But
Now, I will say this, as it applies to relevance, I think it is highly relevant that within a 24-hour period in relation to a kidnapping and murder of a child that he is at another residence 24 hours before on exactly the same road at almost exactly the same time with the same age children within yards of where he committed the murder.
They shut the audio off on their end. That is not me. I don't know what the heck is going on with their microphones today, but this is awful. And hopefully, this is them resolving it right now. But it sounds like the defense is trying to fight against this guy being presented as a witness and the video that he has. Um, Whereas, they are trying to prove that obviously this shows that Tanner was in the area even the day before talking to young children that were the same age as Athena. Uh, the day prior, almost around the exact same time frame that Athena went missing and things of that nature. So that's what we're looking at right now.
Okay, so folks, we're gonna, Jen and I are gonna talk while we wait for sound from the courtroom. At times, the judge has been not allowing us to have audio of hearings that are outside the presence. At other times, he has. So I don't know if it's that or if it's
place, really. Period. End of story. Reality that comes in a case like this in an autopsy.
yeah. I mean, there's things in life that the images that you can't. Yeah. Yesterday, when they had the medical examiner on the stand, what they did was they passed around one photo to the jury. Did not publish it in the courtroom.
Yeah.
There was one.
Thank you before, so is that we can go slowly, go through this, or we can understand all the things we have to say. Can you please introduce yourself to the jury and tell them what you do for a living?
My name is Scott Morris. I'm a digital forensic examiner employed by the FBI.
And can you give us just a little bit about your background, as far as your training, your education, and experience that qualifies you to do the job that you now hold?
So I was retired in 2020 from the Grand Prairie Police Department. I have a Bachelor's of Applied Science. As part of my duties at the Grand Prairie Police Department, I was assigned to the Computer Forensic Laboratory at the FBI, the North Texas Regional Computer Forensic Laboratory. I since retired, became employed by the FBI. As part of my training to become a digital forensic examiner, you go through about a 1.5 year process of training, hands-on classes. Once you become certified, you continue to go through training. And since that time in 2016, where I was certified as an examiner, I've had approximately 1,200 hours plus of continued training.
And you work for some, you said you work for the North Texas Regional Computer Forensic Laboratory?
Correct.
And is that associated with any other agencies that the jury may know about?
So the NTRCFL, as you referred to it, is made up of FBI as well as task force officers. As I said, I was a Grand Prairie task force officer originally, but it still has Richardson, Dallas, Plano, Frisco, as well as the FBI that make that up. And we serve essentially the top half of Texas, taking in requests from the FBI and other law enforcement agencies.
And are you, even though you are, I guess, what you classify as ITS-DFE, is that right?
That's what the FBI classifies me as, yes, sir.
And what do those letters stand for?
Information Technology Specialist, Digital Forensic Examiner.
All right. And so do you actually work under the purview of the FBI in that capacity?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So back in November of 2022, did you receive a phone? Did you have to go somewhere to get a phone on behalf of that had been seized by the FBI related to the disappearance of a young girl by the name of Athena Strand?
It was actually December 2nd.
Okay.
And it was a Friday night, and I was called by the lab director at that time and responded to the Wise County Sheriff's Office, where he turned over the phone to me.
Okay. And once you got the phone, what did you do?
At that point, I returned and went to the laboratory and attempted the extraction.
And where is your laboratory located?
It's in downtown Dallas.
Is it right there? Or describe where it is.
It's right near Dealey Plaza, 207 South Houston.
Gotcha. And may I approach you, Ron?
Yes, sir.
Prior to court today, did I show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit number 153?
Yes.
And at the time that I showed it to you, did I ask you to check to make sure it was sealed and hadn't been tampered with?
Correct.
And then, in your presence, did I open it so that we could examine the inside of the package?
Yes.
And once we took it out of the initial packaging and get down to this pink packaging, do you recognize this item? Actually, it's the one that's inside. Do you recognize that item?
Yes, this is the way that the phone was turned over to me on December 2nd.
And then, once that you had dealt with it, did you then place it inside of this pink packaging?
Correct.
And it has your initials and where it was sealed at that time?
Correct. My initials, the date that I sealed it across the top, as well as our lab number for our examination, and our barcode number is the DL120330.
And for purposes of the record, from previous testimony, I'll state that State's Exhibit number 153 is the phone that was entered as the phone that was with the defendant at the time that he was arrested. No? Correct. Now, were there some other items
besides the phone that you were asked to examine as well?
Yes, a few days later, they also brought 2 gaming systems and a laptop.
And we're just going to talk about the phone this time. Get back into the package. So you said that on December the 2nd, you drove out to the Wise County Sheriff's Office and you picked up the phone, took it back to Dallas to your lab, is that correct?
Correct.
Were you able to do a full download of it at that time?
Not on December 2nd, no, sir.
Okay. When was it you were able to complete the download process?
That would have been the following Monday, I believe December 5th.
All right. And tell us the process that you went through to what we call digital extraction of that phone.
So the reason I was unable to do it on that Friday night is that the USB port by default, or maybe set up that way by the owner, had been set to charging only. So it didn't allow data transfer without unlocking the device. At the time that I received the phone, I wasn't provided the passcode. On Monday, I obtained the passcode and I was able to obtain my extraction. And we do that by connecting it to a tool software that then obtains the extraction for us, following a set of steps that are prompted. Once we obtain the extraction, it also provides a hash value, a mathematical hash value for that specific extraction that you can then, if you copy it to the network and move it around, process it. I should always be able to go back to that hash value, whether it be 1 month, 10 months, 5 years, and rehash it and show that the extraction has not been altered in any way.
And in fact, during the discovery process, did you actually have to go back to your original download to create an additional copy of that original download at the request of the defense so that they had the, I don't know exactly what you say, but all of the raw data that you had?
Correct. I requested and responded by making a discovery copy for the court.
And so there's a whole lot of different reports that you can generate with regard to this. But the one I think that generally is, what is the one that's generally used to sort of, for a layperson like myself, to go through the phone and just see what they might be able to find out?
So when we are requested to perform an examination, it kind of falls one of 2 ways. Either we're giving a lot of data and kind of guidance on what they're looking for, and we conduct a full-blown forensic examination, or they can request a portable case, depending on which tool we use. It goes by a different name. But that portable case puts all that raw data and process it in a way that, yes, investigators can go through, look at emails, look at text messages, etc. They can look at it themselves. In this case, I created a portable case using Cellrite, and that's commonly referred to as a reader report.
And based upon the reader report, were you then requested to go back on the days following November 30th? I guess the specific dates of December 1st and December 2nd, were you asked to look at some cell searches, or internet searches that might have been done on that phone, and then also some images that may have been accessed on that phone?
Correct.
And were you able to go back and verify certain times and dates that certain things were accessed?
Correct. I was asked to provide a list of artifacts and asked to confirm that they did in fact come from my extraction and extract the data from the provided phone.
And prior to court today, were you shown a document, I think approximately maybe 30 pages, 29-page document, that of those artifacts, as you call them, and there's some dates and times that go with the artifacts to verify that those dates and times are correct?
Correct.
Okay. Oh, I haven't done that yet. I figured you were getting ready to do that. So, may I approach?
Yes, sir.
Should I call you Agent Morris or Mr. Morris?
Mr. Morris is fine. I'm not an agent.
Mr. Morris, I'm going to show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit number 287 and ask you if you just briefly look through that and see if that's the document that you examined prior to court today, and I think previous to that as well.
Yes, sir, it is.
And prior to that document being created, were there numerous other artifacts that have been honed down to this as far as what we're going to bring forth the jury?
Correct. So,
Okay. And so with regard to State's Exhibit number 287, you have 2 pages that are just delineated the date that the things were done, right?
correct.
Thursday, December 1st, and Friday, December 2nd.
Yes, sir.
And with regard to the other pages on there, then there would be a screenshot off of your reader report and then the dates and times that go with that screenshot.
Correct.
And do you, is your testimony that you have, where there's like little red boxes that have been added to the screenshots that point out the things that are referenced as to the date and the time to the left, on the left side of the page?
Correct. The red boxes were added afterwards. They're not part of the initial processing.
And other than that, with regard to the photographs or the screenshots, are those true and correct copies of what would have come directly off of the reader?
Correct.
Now, on the dates and times, the dates and the times that are on the left side of the page, have they been gone through the conversion process? Is it the original times that you read on the reader report are usually in what time zone?
Usually the forensic software is going to list everything in universal coordinated time, otherwise known as UTC, or Greenwich Mean Time. And then from there, you can convert the time based on which time zone you're in. For this one, we are Central Standard Time, so minus 6 hours.
So if it says over here on the left side, the date and the time, and it says CST, what does CST stand for?
Central Standard Time.
Do you believe it would aid the jury to understand some of the things that were being accessed by the defendant on this phone after the time, the alleged time, or the admitted time now, that he murdered Athena Strand on November 30th, 2022?
I do.
I will offer State's Exhibit number 287 into evidence.
Sure.
A couple more questions about State's Exhibit number 287. We talked about the red marks. Those were added afterwards, correct?
Correct. I didn't make that presentation, so whoever did added those red marks afterwards, just to highlight certain aspects.
But you would agree that the red marks that were added were to show what the time frame is related to over here? Because there's multiple time frames on some of these.
Correct.
Stuff, correct. Yes. And then there's also specifically as to the search where it shows web history, there's a URL or a file path that was used to get there. Is that correct?
Correct. File path shows where the artifact is located within the overall file system.
Now, understanding that, are the red marks helpful, in your opinion, to show that the date and time that they're related?
Correct.
Now, with regard to the date and the time, those date and times were put there before you saw this document, correct?
Correct.
But did you go back and verify those dates and times to make sure that those were true and correct?
Correct. Each artifact I was able to locate matched up to the time displayed.
And with regard to that, would you adopt that as far as part of your testimony as to, for the individual artifact and the time that's on the same page, that that's the time that that artifact is related?
Correct, as long as it's minus 6 hours from whenever it's displayed in UDC.
That's it. All right, thank you. With that understanding, one thing further. Prior to court today, was there a hearing outside the presence of the jury where you did your qualifications, talk about what you were going to testify to?
Yes.
And at that point, the defense had an opportunity to make objections to your testimony?
Not relevant.
Sustained.
Yeah, I have any objections to it as a demonstrative evidence. We would object to come back.
All right, so State's 287 is admitted. You may have any objection.
May I publish it?
Yes, sir.
exhibit number 287. Mr. Morris, as far as how these pages are related to each other, are they in chronological order? Starting earlier in the day on December 1st and moving through that day, and then going earlier in the day on December 2nd and moving.
I believe so, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. So, the second page, page 2 of page 287, I'm going to focus in on, it shows an event that occurred on December 2nd, 2022, which was early Thursday morning at 3:30 a.m., correct?
Correct.
And that related to an internet search that had refreshed, I guess at that time, from one that had previously. Explain, you're right. Explain to me what we're seeing here in this red box that I have focused in on with regard to page 2 of page 287.
So the search was for my family reaching out via demon. I was asked to locate that within the extraction and verify that it came from my extracted data. In doing so, I located that data, that specific search, but also located what appears to be the original search, which, if my memory serves, was actually performed on November 22nd, sometime after 10 p.m. And so that this search is either a research or it's just still in its history. It was hit again, a page refreshed back, and he didn't close that tab. So this is not the initial original search.
But it does show that that search was refreshed or accessed at what time of day on December 1st of 2022?
According to that, it's December 1st, 2022 at 3:30 a.m. Central Standard Time.
And, the total text of, because over here, if we're looking at the middle, it doesn't give the entire text of the search, correct?
Correct, and you can see there as well that it's been refreshed a couple times on that date.
Understood. And so the total text is over this box in the lower right-hand corner. My fiance's family makes me out to be a demon. Is that right?
Correct, and if you were to widen the column in the software, which you can't do with the screenshot, obviously, you could also see the entire search string.
Are you talking about this column here?
Yes, sir, if you widen that within the software, you'd be able to see the entire column.
All right, moving on to page number 3. Now we have an image that shows to have been accessed on December 1st, 2022 at what time?
6:19 a.m. Central Standard Time.
And just for purposes of the record, can you describe what we're looking at?
It's a graph, 3 circles intersecting, different subject titles of each one.
And so the top circle, are they in a triangular formation?
No, they're circles.
Well, they're circles, but they are like one circle on top of 2 other circles.
Correct, intersecting in the center.
Understood. So the 3 main circles titles are what?
Catholicism, autism, and nerdship.
Okay. And what does it say is the intersection of all 3 of those things?
It has the acronym BDSM.
And that was at 6:19 a.m. on December 1st, right?
Correct.
So, let me go on to the next one. Okay, let's go on to the next one. December 1st, 6:19:48 in the morning. What's the next image that we're looking at?
It appears to be a book titled Hot and Father.
What's the subtitle, please?
How to think about, talk about, and have the sex you really want.
Going on. 7:37. Now we're jumping all the way to 7:37 p.m. And we have.
We're asking this question.
Don't leave your words.
No, I believe this is admitted into evidence. I think I could read off the document that's submitted into evidence if that's allowed.
I'm just saying, don't leave your words.
Yes, sir. Okay. Tell us, is this the same or different search that was earlier accessed that we referred to on the first page?
That's the same search. The refresh brought to the present.
Okay, thank you. Now, December 1st, what time is this next page, specifically for purposes of record, page 6, what time is this image accessed?
It's displayed as 1:06:05 p.m. Central Standard Time.
And that's in PM means what?
Post-print means in the afternoon.
All right. And with regard to that, do you recognize that image as being a certain person?
I do.
And who is that?
Athena Strand.
Going on, same time frame. What are we looking at here? Page 7,
It's another picture of Athena Strand.
page 8,
Another image of Athena Strand.
page 9.
Another image of Athena Strand.
Now, the next time frame that we're looking at on December 1st, 2022 is what? Here on page 10.
2:20:54 p.m. Central Standard Time.
2:20 in the afternoon.
Correct.
Is there a different service that's being done at this time?
Yes, but I can't be.
I'm going to focus in on it.
Thank you.
Over here in the box, can you see the text of that search?
I do.
What is it?
Do FedEx truck cameras constantly record?
You said that was at what time?
2:20 p.m. 54 seconds Central Standard Time.
And over here, can you see that in the UTC time?
Correct. So again, 6 hours forward, 8:20 p.m.
Going on, page 11. What time frame are we looking at here on the searches that we're focused in on at this point?
Shows December 1st, 2022, 7:33:29 p.m. Central Standard Time.
And what is the text of the searches that are being done?
Paradise Missing Girl.
And how many different refreshes or new screens were accessed as part of this?
What's displayed there is 5.
Going on, page 12. What time frame are we looking at here?
December 1st, 2022, 8:16:07 p.m. Central Standard Time.
And I'm going to show you, that is page 12, page 13. Are you familiar with what these photographs show?
I am.
Can you say that for the record, please?
Certain areas of the crime scene.
Going on to page 14.
Additional photos of the crime scene, and all those that string of images is part of, I believe, a WhatsApp chat group.
And I want to ask you about, when you refer to it as a crime scene, it's hard to narrow that down because there's multiple things going on at the same time. So can you say where are the search areas or where the body was recovered? You know.
I do not know each specific one.
Okay, that's fine. Going on to December 2nd, 2020. At what time frame are we looking at here?
That one shows December 2nd, 2022, 1:49:43 p.m. Central Standard Time.
And do you recognize the person in that photograph?
I believe that is Tanner Warner.
Now, was this a photograph that was embedded in his phone?
It is several times.
And with regard to that, was it accessed though at this time of day?
It pops up within that Facebook workup, which is Android's name for Facebook Messenger. So I don't know, I wasn't asked to determine if it's profile picture or how it's accessed. But yes, the image did present itself at that time.
Okay. Now going on to page number 17. What time of day are we looking at here?
December 2nd, 2022, 2:57:09 p.m. Central Standard Time.
And is there a photograph of a young girl on there?
There is.
And do you know who that young girl is?
Athena Strand.
Going on to page number 18. Do you see another photograph?
Yes, sir.
Who's that?
Athena Strand.
Page 19. Is this a different time that was accessed than the previous time this photograph was accessed?
Correct.
Page 20. What are we looking at here, purposes of the record?
It's a missing poster for Athena Strand.
Page 21.
Another missing banner for Athena Strand.
Page 22.
Another missing poster for Athena Strand.
Page 23.
Another missing poster for Athena Strand.
Page 24.
An image of Athena Strand.
Page 25.
Would appear to be, again, a photo of a search crime scene location.
Page 26,
Another message photo alert, if you will, of Athena Strand.
page 27,
Another image of Athena Strand.
page 28,
Another image of Athena Strand.
and page 29.
Still another image of Athena Strand.
And these are all images that you recovered from where?
These came from the extracted data of the phone submitted to the laboratory.
And who did that phone come from?
I believe it came from Tarrant County.
That's which.
Cross-examination.
Good morning, Mr. Morrison.
Good morning.
Follow-up questions for you. As to this PowerPoint, you did not create that.
That's correct.
And your work in the digital forensic, the recovery from the phone, the artifact, is the images over here on the right, not the word.
Correct. The images on the right are what came from the extraction. The images on the left are just taken from that. Summarizing, if you will.
Sure. And you're only testifying to those artifacts on the phone. You're not giving any testimony regarding who the end user was at the time or anything like that.
Correct.
Now, this wording in blue there,
Yes, sir.
that is our file.
Correct.
So that's kind of where it ended up on your phone, on the phone.
Yes, sir.
And there's ways things get onto your phone other than you searching for it.
Correct.
Can you just tell me what a cache is?
So a cache is, best way to describe it is a temporary storage. You have different caches within your web browsers, different caches within your social media applications, and the purpose of a cache is really to try to make your user experience better. So when you think of a news site, it may cache data, so the next time you go to that news site, if it's one you go to frequently, you're not waiting on it to pull up all the original data. It can pull up more quickly and present itself further. In the same way, social media apps have that similar fashion. They're trying to present the user quickly what you want to see, you're not waiting, and so it can cache data of stuff you've looked at. For social media, some of it may be preloaded, as you may be familiar with social media. When you pull it up, there's already video waiting for you.
And you kind of mentioned there, so different programs will have their own cache storage place, right?
Correct, and then the phone itself can have a cache. They're all over extraction.
Okay, so there's multiple different little pockets where things will get put into.
Correct.
And that's what we're calling an artifact, is any sort of image or message or anything that gets saved.
Correct.
And those images will remain in that cache until they're either written over or if the program has some sort of time limit.
Correct. Each platform can set up its own parameters. The phone can to try to manage that cache so that it doesn't become too large on your device and then start rendering your user experience in the negative because it's taking up too much space.
Now, going through each of these photos in the state presentation, they all have this file path showing where they ended up, right?
Correct.
And this one, for example, is from Facebook.
Correct.
So Facebook caches, what goes in there isn't necessarily something you click on.
Correct. It's made up of a multitude of data.
Okay. And it's like when you're scrolling and viewing things, that can be your cache.
Correct. Yeah. It's the simplest of terms. It can be stuff that's preloaded. It can be things you've looked at. It can be things that your social media by kind of tracking your interests, your likes, or things that have been occurring in and around your phone or maybe your area of application. It can preload that data and be available for you or shared by your content users.
Exactly. So if I look at a particular topic, search on YouTube for gardening or something, and I pull that Facebook, and suddenly I've got 60 things on gardening, and I'm scrolling through those can end up back in my cache.
Correct.
Okay. And I believe Instagram's owned by Meta, so it too as is Facebook.
Yes.
So would it work similarly? I think we may have an Instagram photo or two of it.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on each cache, but yes, they'll work in a similar fashion. I couldn't testify that they have the exact same configuration and rules of how long they can store data and whatnot.
Well, for example, the dates we're talking about, Ms. Strand would have been in the news a lot.
Correct.
Would have been on the news feed on Facebook a lot.
Correct.
And if I'm scrolling in Wise County, I'm likely to run into something.
Correct.
And that would go into my cache.
Yes.
Specifically, the one you testified to as being crime scene, that was actually from WhatsApp, correct?
Yes, and again, it's shared data held on phone.
Okay. But that one is a little different because that was from a message group, right?
Yes.
So, and I believe it was maybe a FedEx, maybe something from his work.
I believe it's a FedEx group chat. Yes, sir.
So when that goes out on the group chat, and I'm in that group chat, and I click on that there's a message from coworkers, or mechanic clicks on there's a message from coworkers, that is went into the WhatsApp cache.
Yes, sir.
So that wasn't like him looking for crime scene, that was a message group he was part of. He clicks on it and it goes on the phone.
Yes, for that specific part that it was part of that group chat.
Yeah, I'm referring to that specifically. There are also some of these that may have been from messages from his meeting with his grandmother.
Okay.
And so if you get a message from someone else, the same thing. You click on it, whatever attachment they sent you goes into cache.
Yes, it could be cached depending on what messaging platform you're using, WhatsApp, the native messaging for the phone, Facebook messaging.
So because you've got the file path on these, and it's different from the search terms you showed, these are from caches from either Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp or a message that was sent.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you questions to you about the browser history. You talked about a first time searching and reloading, that sort of thing. What are different ways that something gets into that history for a program that has a history rather than cache?
So if you're familiar with, for instance, Google on your phone, if you type in a specific search, if you don't clear your history and you go back, then it can be, as soon as you start typing, it may present itself and you can click and follow that same search. Also, if you have multiple tabs open, you may have that tab open the entire time, and it's not until you click on that tab that it refreshes, brings it back to the forefront, and you can continue that search again, if you desire.
So while they operate a little differently, either with the cache or with the history, you don't necessarily have to intentionally click on something for it to end up there.
Correct.
Now, I don't know if you mentioned this, but I believe it's in your report that one of the first things you did, you gained access to the phone to do a search for child sexual abuse materials.
I'm sorry?
Child sexual abuse material on the phone. I think it's in your report and prior testimony. That was one of the first things you did.
I think I remember noting that I didn't locate any.
That was going to be my next question. So you didn't locate any sort of child sexual abuse material. I think that was the acronym of it.
Correct, I did not.
Just to clarify, we're referring to any sort of pornography involving kids or children, anything like that. You didn't find it in your report.
I did not.
One last question, and you may or may not know the answer to this. On the, as far as Facebook and Instagram, as a source of program, when you change your user handle, do you know that changes the user, how that appears on old posts?
I don't know if it changes on old posts.
Okay. Last question.
Redirect.
We've already shown this photograph. In order for somebody to have this documentation on their screen, or what would have to happen?
Those listed there are typing searches. If you're typing in a search, if you wanted to know what the weather is, you type, what is the weather today? That is what that artifact is cataloged.
So would the person, whoever it was that's using the phone at that time, be the one that advertised?
Correct.
Is that the same with regard to state zip 287, page 10, this red box?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Number of questions?
Mr. Copeland?
Yes, sir. As the first image you showed you, there was 4 or 5 searches. Those occurred between 1:33 and 1:37.
I don't know.
4-minute period.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, 4-minute period, those 4 times.
Well, it would be that you load the first search. You didn't type it that many times.
Okay.
So it's repeating, kind of like the FedEx trucks report constantly, or the other one about the family picks up a demon. It's not being retyped each time. So you type the first time, then as you go into your history, remember it shows your history. You can either follow it again, or it's just pulling up and refreshing that window.
Okay, so I thought Mr. Gray asked for the retype. That's not necessarily happening. It means that search was reloaded 4 times within that.
Yeah, I didn't look to verify, but I don't believe it. I don't believe that he typed it 5 times.
Okay. And the second one he showed you, those had the same exact time for the second, 8:20, 54, or something like that. So that's not even typing, you think it's something.
Correct. I'd have to see the slide again to follow exactly, but I don't believe it's being retyped. He could, but it doesn't necessarily indicate and mean that he typed it 2 times.
I'm sure you can have something that's...
Correct, if they were at the exact same time.
Right.
As I would say, without seeing the image again, I'm just taking your word that they were at the exact same time.
I was trying to
Correct.
write that one right there. So,
Sure.
Thank you, that was all.
Mr. Berry?
Nothing further.
May this witness be excused subject to any potential recall?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Hand me that microphone. Just pull it out. Pull it out. Pull it out. Thanks, sir. Who do you have next? I'm sorry? Kevin Huffman? Trying to do something with this air conditioner. Oh, have a seat. Ladies and gentlemen, this witness has been previously sworn to testify truthfully. Mr. Staten?
Kevin Huffman.
And where do you currently work?
I'm the elected constable for Wise County Precinct 4.
And without giving your entire address, where do you live?
I live on County Road 3573 in Paradise.
Now, let me ask you a little bit about this road outside of Paradise. Just describe this road that you're looking at.
It's going to be a paved county road. It's a little less than a mile long. It dead ends into a cul-de-sac.
And as it applies to this case, are you aware of where Athena Strand's residence is in relation to yours?
Yes, sir.
And where is it in relation to yours?
So when you turn on to County Road 3573 off of FM 2123, which is the farm to market highway, Athena's house would have been the first house on the right, up towards the highway side, and then my house is down at the very end of the cul-de-sac.
When you say cul-de-sac, is that like a turnaround?
Yes, sir.
And so on this particular road, is this area that is in, if you consider it to be urban or rural?
It's rural.
Now, how far away is this from, say, the town of Paradise?
From Paradise, as the crow flies, probably about 10 or 11 miles.
Now, this particular road, how long have you been living on this road?
We moved out there in 2017.
Now, this particular road, is this a highly traveled or a lightly traveled road?
It's pretty lightly traveled. There's about 20 homes on this road.
Now, let me fast forward you here. At some point in November of 2022, did you happen to come in contact with the defendant and owner?
Yes, sir.
And how did that contact occur?
He had delivered a package to our house.
And let me ask you specifically, what date was on?
That would have been on November 29th.
And what time?
It was evening time, approximately 5:45.
Now, in relationship to that date being the 29th, are you familiar with what date Athena Strand was missing?
Yes, sir.
What date is that?
That had been the following day on the 3rd.
And do you remember, you said you're a constable, let me ask you a couple of questions about that.
Yes, sir.
Is a constable a licensed police officer?
Yes, sir.
And with regard to being a constable, do you have access to the sheriff, the dispatch? How do you communicate in Wise County?
Well, I have a police radio in my vehicle. I don't personally use it that much. I'm kind of old school guy. But I communicate primarily by phone, but I do have the ability to use the county radio system.
And in that communication, do you remember when you became aware that Athena Strand had gone missing?
I'm sorry.
Your Honor, relevance to the incident that we're talking about today?
Just saying.
When Athena Strand went missing, did you participate in the search?
Yes.
And how so?
That evening, I participated by going out and checking my property. I'm on 10 acres. So I went and checked around my fence lines, and I checked my stock tank and in that immediate area that evening.
So backing up, you said that Tim Horner had delivered a package of 545 the day before that. Is that right? Okay. And let me ask you, at your home back in 22, who all lived at your home back in 2022?
It would have been myself, my wife, and my 2 daughters.
Now, let me ask you, we don't have to give their names here, but how old were your two daughters in November of 2022, if you remember?
My youngest would have been 7, and my oldest would have been, well, she had just had a birthday, so she had just turned 10, actually.
So I want to make sure this is you, your wife, 2 girls, 7 and 10.
Yes, sir.
And were they all present when Tanner Horn arrived at your location on the 29th?
Yes, we were all on the property.
All right. And with regard to that, how did you become aware that he was there on the property?
My oldest daughter had come in to let me and my wife know that we had to deliver there. They were both out in the yard.
And so that's the setup I was going to ask you about. Kind of who was where when Tanner Horner drove up?
Yes, sir. My 2 daughters were out playing out in the front yard. We have a swing in the circle drive, so they were out playing out front, and me and my wife were in the house in the living room.
And other than delivering a package, anything else out of the ordinary go on that particular day?
Not necessarily out of the ordinary. It was just, a little idle chit chat, small talk while he unloaded a keyboard that was being used.
Let me show you previously. Exhibits 289 and 290. Let me just ask you a couple of questions. You didn't take these pictures, did you?
No, sir.
Are these screenshots?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me just ask you, do you recognize any portions on these particular screenshots?
Yes, sir.
And just to give us an idea, what do you recognize on the screenshot?
So I recognize it shows a partial picture of the front of my house in the front door. It shows my wife's car parked on the carport attached to the house. And this picture shows an image of my youngest daughter.
And then what about, that takes 289, what about 290?
Thank you. I apologize. I left my cheaters in the truck. This one, in addition to the car, the front door, this one is going to show, looks like my youngest daughter at the back of the FedEx van, as well as me coming out of the front door.
Okay. And then on 288, is that generally the same as you see here in 289 and 90?
Yes, sir. Minus this one, I do not see me coming out the front door, and it appears that the van door is closed at that point.
All right. And do these actively represent your home and those things around your home on or about that date, November 29, 2022?
Yes, sir.
Definitely.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It also states 288, 289, and 290.
Any objections other than those previously brought to my attention?
And no objections.
Right, states exhibits 288, 289, and 290 are admitted. Cross-examination.
Can we break around?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm Tanya Iser, senior investigative reporter at Channel 8. I've got Jen Falk, who's a former child abuse prosecutor, sex crimes prosecutor. We've been watching this morning as they've been showing images that were.
Mr. Stegman? Yeah, okay. Defense Exhibit 44 is admitted, and you may publish to the jury.
Right here for a moment. Now, Mr. Huffman, when Mr. Horner pulled into the driveway, the lights are on at the house. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And there are cars in the driveway.
Yes,
So just looking at the house, there's an indication that somebody's actually home.
that's correct.
And their dog's out in the front yard?
Yes,
Okay, and I believe you testified that your kids were out there playing?
yes.
Oh, where was your wife at the time?
She was in the house with me.
I'd like to see my the one of the adults, please. There's a Christmas precaution.
All right, so you can see the kids are playing in the back, and Mr. Horner still has his seatbelt fastened, does he not?
Yes,
He rolls down his window, and he asks to speak to one of the adults, correct?
yes,
And tells you that, or says that it's a Christmas time precaution, right?
yes.
Oh, okay.
All right, so he stayed in the van until it appears that he had received some indication that it was okay to get out of the van, right?
What it looks like, yes.
Okay, I was making sure, kind of. I have to make sure that this person.
Now, Mr. Huffman, I'm going to stop for a moment. Can I approach the stranger?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Huffman, I have one question. Who is this in the white right here in the background? I assume this is your daughter right here.
That's one of my, that's my youngest daughter in the Ford, closer
And
one.
in the background, is that your wife?
To be honest, I can't tell from here.
You need to walk around and look at it.
I may have to.
You know what, I'll play it and I'll get us to a better spot. And the person in the background goes into the house.
Okay, that is my wife there, in front of the door.
Okay, so when Mr. Horner arrived, your wife was outside as well.
Yes, we both came out.
When he got out of the truck, he told your wife or told people that were outside that, you know, it was a Christmas time precaution because he had accidentally spoiled a kid's Christmas the other day. Is that what he had said?
I believe that's the gist of it, yeah.
And all the time that he's sitting in the truck, your wife is still outside with the kids, right?
Yes.
Okay. So your wife goes into the house. And is that you that immediately came out of the house?
That is me.
Okay. Mr. Huffman, during the time that Mr. Horner is getting the package out and delivering it to the front, you didn't have any concerns for your safety, did you?
No,
You didn't have any concerns for the safety of your wife?
not at that time.
Didn't have any concerns for the safety of your children?
No.
In fact, Mr. Horner was behaving like your typical delivery driver, correct?
Well, I would say a little better than the prior one.
A little better than the prior delivery
Yes.
driver? But he was polite.
Yes,
And he was courteous. And he engaged in small talk with you and your family.
right.
But nothing that would give you pause.
No, ma'am.
Nothing that would make you get on your dispatcher and call sheriff. And nothing that would make you call dispatch.
No.
All right, so now, Mr. Horner had just stated that 115 stops today. Did you hear that?
I didn't catch it, I'm sorry.
Okay. So Mr. Horner did say that there were 115 stops that day, not too bad. And during this time period, you can see yourself walking back out of the house,
Yes, ma'am.
and you're walking towards the back of the truck,
Correct.
and Mr. Horner's putting on a seatbelt.
Yes.
Oh, man. Get down. I'm right there, man.
Mr. Huffman, the only other question I had about the package was the package clearly marked what the contents were?
I want to say it was, but I don't recall. It's been too long.
Okay. If it had been clearly marked and somebody just delivered it, you would agree with me that there was the possibility that if it had been a surprise, that surprise could have been spoiled?
If it had been, I think so, but it wasn't.
Your Honor, has a witness.
Read record.
Within 24 hours of that video, Athena's been kidnapped and murdered, correct?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you, Ms. Anderson asked you if you felt the need to call the police or dispatch, and he was there 24 hours before. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, knowing what you know now, that 24 hours later, he kidnapped and murdered a child the same age as yours, would you still have that feeling with him being on your property at this time?
Well, no.
And what would you do in response?
Objection, Your Honor, that calls for speculation.
Sustained.
That's brilliant.
Redirect, Ms. Anderson.
Yes, but at the time, you did fear for your safety.
At the time, I did not.
Did not fear for the safety of your girls. Did not fear for the safety of anybody in your household. Then,
Mr. Stanton.
That's your Honor, thank you.
May this witness be used subject to any potential recall?
no objections.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right, I hate to do this, but we've been working, so we need 10 minutes. All right, we'll call you back in just a few minutes.
Wow, Jen, that video is eerie.
Eerie's the right word.
You know, less than 24 hours before Athena is kidnapped and murdered. He's at this guy's house, this constable's house, neighbor of Athena Strand's dad, and this video shows him, you know, little 7-year-old girls, and also in the front yard with her sister. You see her on that video. I mean, what does it say to jurors?
I think it's saying to the jurors exactly what it said to the neighbor and to you and I sitting here, which is like, it could have been my kid. This isn't an impulsive, one-off kind of crime of circumstance, or, you know, kind of, I don't want to say the stars aligning, but a crime of opportunity when it comes to Athena, because just 24 hours earlier, he is right down the street with access to a 7, and it sounds like also the 10-year-old was present, and that probably was the deterrent. Right.
And parents come out.
Right. And the 7 and 10-year-old have been taught, if there's a delivery, come get me. Right. It's the same. It's the same with our kids, and you don't answer the door for strangers. If there's a delivery, even now as they're older with DoorDash or Uber Eats, it's you just leave it there. When they're completely gone, then I'll give you the cue to go get it. If there's an adult home, then the adult goes out and intercepts the delivery. And had that adult not been home, had there not been the older sister or younger sister being present, you know, I would imagine that I think it's Mr. Huffman was his name, is very much empathizing with Athena Strand's family, and I think the jurors are as well.
The terror you would feel that maybe that would have been your kid. And yeah, you know, you and I were talking about that while we were watching it, that we both, sadly, based on our life history and the things we've done for a living. You know, when my son was little, I didn't let him play out in the front yard by himself. I mean, I did as a kid. I mean, you know, we ran all over the neighborhood when I was a kid.
Same. It was when the street lights come on. That's the rule, to go ahead and head home on our bikes, and we were just on our own. My kids have not had that experience.
No, my son neither. I mean, he's 14 now, so, you know, of course he's, you know, 6'1" and walks with the dog, so I'm not too worried about him. But when he was 5, 6, 7 years old, there's no way I would have allowed him in the front yard without me being out there watching him. And while, you know, stranger kidnappings like this are, again, I cannot emphasize enough, rare. It's typically going to be
January of 2013.
What these are.
These are January of 2013.
Yeah, on average.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 292. And do you recognize this?
Yes.
And what is it?
This is a comment thread between Tanner and myself on Facebook.
And how do you know that that message belongs to Tanner?
It has his photo in the profile as well as his name.
Did you ever make plans with Tanner Horner using Facebook?
Yes,
And who showed up after you made those plans?
Tanner Horner.
All right, this time the state, this is a very accurate depiction of that conversation.
Yes.
This time the state opposite evidence, State's Exhibit 292. No objection.
State's Exhibit 292 is admitted.
Thank you, Judge. I'm going to show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit 293. You spoke about anime earlier. What was the character that you and Mr. Horner spoke about most?
Misa Misa from the anime Death Note.
And as part of this conversation that just was admitted as State's Exhibit 292, is that who you were speaking about?
Yes.
And do you feel like this would aid the jury in understanding who we were speaking about?
Yes.
And is this a representation of that character?
Yes.
All right, this time the state opposite evidence, State's Exhibit 293. I'm going to object to relevance, Your Honor.
That objection is overruled. State's Exhibit 293 is admitted.
Now I'm going to show you what is marked as State's Exhibit 291. Have you had the opportunity to review this item prior to coming in here today?
Yes.
And can you tell me what these are?
These are Facebook messages between myself and Tanner Horner.
And are these a fair and accurate showing of your entire conversation that you still had in your possession?
Yes.
At this time? And is that y'all's conversation?
Yes.
And how do you recognize that that is your and Tanner Horner's conversation?
It is. It has Tanner's profile picture as well as his name.
All right, this time the state opposite evidence, State's Exhibit 291. No objection, Your Honor.
State's Exhibit 291 is admitted.
Judge. All right, we were talking about one of the things that you had in common with Tanner was anime.
Yes.
Can you tell us more about anime, specifically the conversation that you're having with about Misa Misa?
In this conversation, I was cosplaying as that character for a local anime convention that was going on, and Tanner was commenting on my post asking who I was cosplaying as.
And who were you cosplaying as?
Misa Misa.
Can you publish what's been admitted as State Exhibit 293? Show on the screen now, State's Exhibit 293. And where are we at?
This is Misa Misa from the anime Death Note.
Is this, I guess, what you're referring to in the conversation that was just admitted? It's in front of you, that Facebook message?
Yes.
And I'm going to have you read those messages and tell us who is reading. Tell us your part this part, okay?
Yes. The first comment that Tanner made asked who I was cosplaying as. I responded, Misa Misa. Tanner said, I just creamed my panties. Tanner then said, I had to go to Walmart and buy a pair just so I could cream them. I responded, Tanner, you're a male. That's weird that you're wearing panties. Tanner then said, well, banana hammock, but still. Them be manties, not panties. LOLs, JK, JK.
Other than Misa Misa, what other things did you and Tanner talk about at that time?
At that time, a lot of it was just music related. We were both involved in the local music scene, going to shows, supporting the local bands.
Did Tanner want to know how old you were?
Yes.
And how did you know that?
I openly told him when his friend and I were dating, as his friend was aware as well.
Were you ever at the defendant's home?
Yes.
Do you recall who you lived with?
His grandmother and grandfather.
What did he ask you to tell her?
I needed to use the restroom.
Your Honor, it's a vague question.
Rephrase your question.
What did he ask you to tell her about your age?
Objection, Your Honor, it's still vague, has not been identified who the parent is.
Rephrase your question.
You mentioned that he was living with his grandma, correct?
Yes.
Right. When you were at his grandma's house, what did Tanner Corner tell you to tell his grandma about your age?
If I was asked about my age, I was told to tell her I was 18 years old.
Thank you. I'm going to bring you to around June and July of 2013, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
At this time, what was your relationship with Tanner Corner?
At that time, we had entered a dating relationship for the period of about 1 week.
And you were how old at that time?
16 years old.
And how old was Tanner Corner?
22.
In June or July 2013, what happened?
Tanner sexually assaulted me.
Was there another time that Tanner Corner sexually assaulted you?
Yes, August 11th of 2013.
And are you the same person that is a victim in 2 sexual assault child cases?
Objection, Your Honor, to the characterization.
Let me hear the question.
Are you the same person that is a victim in 2 sexual assault cases that are indicted and pending in Tarrant County?
The objection's overruled.
Your Honor, I would object to the characterization of the victim. Only a jury can determine whether or not an offense has occurred. Until then, she's a complaining witness or the accuser.
Rephrase your question regarding the victim.
Are you the same person that is the accuser in 2 sexual assault of a child cases that are indicted and pending in Tarrant County currently?
Yes, I am.
Who is the defendant in those cases?
Tanner Horner.
Is that the same person as you have previously identified in court today and as the defendant in this case?
Yes.
In June, July 2013, when Tanner Horner sexually assaulted you, where were you at?
In his shed behind his grandmother's house.
Why were you there that day?
We were hanging out and drinking and smoking.
When you say drinking,
We were drinking alcohol.
okay. And when you said smoking,
We were smoking marijuana.
you're still 16.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you purchase this alcohol?
No, I did not.
You did.
Tanner Horner.
How much had you drank that day?
I don't remember exactly, but I know it was enough that I was not coherent.
Was there anyone else at his house that day?
I believe his grandmother was inside her home up the home in the front.
So what were you and Tanner Horner doing while you were drinking alcohol?
We were in his shed listening to music and talking.
Do you recall what time of day or night this was?
I believe it started in early afternoon and went on late into the night.
Were you planning on staying the night with him that night?
Yes, so my grandmother did not find out that I was out drinking.
I want you to tell the jury what happened.
That night, when I decided it was time to go to sleep, I laid down and Tanner Horner started grabbing a hold of me, kissing me, and proceeded to have sex with me.
Was this the first time that you had had sex with a defendant?
Yes.
Understanding you cannot consent, did you tell the defendant anything during or after at this time?
Directly after, no. After I left that day, I went home and showered because I felt gross. I didn't fully understand why I felt gross, but I did have a conversation with Tanner either the next day or the day after that I was not interested in him. I did not want to be in a relationship with him, and I never wanted to have a sexual interaction with him again.
What was your relationship, though, with Tanner after this? Before the August incident, what was your relationship like?
We were friendly. We had mutual friends, and again, we were both involved in the music scene, so we saw each other a few times. We hung around with the same group of people.
I'm going to direct you to August 11th, 2013, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to talk the jury through that day. So, how do you recall when this happened?
That day, I was dropped off in Hazelwood to hang out with Tanner at an apartment that he was staying in with some friends of his. We were going to be drinking and smoking and playing drinking games in that apartment.
Were you invited by Tanner or someone else?
I was invited by Tanner.
And did you know the other people at this apartment?
I knew one of them. The people whose apartment that were on the lease I had just met that day.
And you said you were going to be doing these things. What did y'all actually do when you got there?
We exactly did those things. We drank alcohol, we smoked marijuana and cigarettes, as well as played drinking games.
Do you know about what time of day or night this was?
We started drinking later into the evening.
How intoxicated were you?
Very.
How old were you at this time?
16.
Did you purchase alcohol?
No.
You're drinking games, you're having a good time. What happens next?
I decided I was tired, and Tanner and I had agreed that I would sleep in his room instead of on the couch. So I said I was going to bed. I went into his room and went to sleep.
Was he in the room?
At that time, no.
At some point, did he come to you?
Yes.
Tell me what you were doing and what happened.
I was asleep. I woke up to him grabbing me and touching me in my vaginal area, where he proceeded to again have sex with me.
And what did you do at that time?
I froze. I completely froze, shut down, did not know what to do, and just let it happen.
How did you feel at that time?
Violated, gross, not comfortable with myself. I hated myself a lot for allowing that to happen to myself.
Was there anything different this time versus the first time?
Our conversation after the previous sexual incident was that I did not want to have that kind of relationship with him. So he knew that I was not interested in him like that.
After this happened, what was your relationship with the defendant like after this?
I stayed very off-put towards him. I was very dismissive whenever we would speak. If I was around him, I would often talk to the others around him, but not him. I very much so tried to be as rude as I could be without possibly starting a anger fit.
Did you tell anyone at the time what happened to you?
Shaylee Moore.
Who was Shaylee Moore?
Shaylee Moore is a friend of mine. She is also another victim.
Your Honor, may we approach?
Sure.
about your friend, Shaylee Moore. Did you ever hang out with Shaylee Moore and Tanner Horn?
Yes.
Was that with just you and her and Tanner, or was that with the band or in some other fashion?
We went to a music festival together that Tanner was playing, South by So What. I cannot recall if we hung out with Tanner privately with just her and I.
Do you know how she was introduced to Tanner? Was that through you or someone else?
I believe it was through me.
States Exhibit 291. This is the first page of that document. Can you just explain what we're looking at here?
This is the start of the Facebook Messenger thread of my messages with Tanner Horner.
And can you just say the record what the date is on this?
January 13th of 2013.
I'll show you the second page. And here, can you read the statement? 926, yeah.
Do you want me to read from the beginning or just that statement?
You can read from the beginning.
Tanner had messaged me, "What's up?" So if you don't mind me asking what happened, I explained that the person I was dating broke up with me due to his family and he was tired of being made fun of. Tanner's response was, "Damn, you know, I've never understood why people freak out over weird age gaps. I mean, yeah, that's a little different, but still, LOL. So I guess you're not gonna try to set me up with one of your friends now, huh?"
What was he referring to with the weird age gap?
His friend that I was dating was 21 at the time while I was 16.
And I guess at this time of this message, he did know your age then?
Yes.
Objection, false or speculation?
Overruled.
I'll show you on the States Exhibit 291, that's going to be on page 25. Probably going to have to show you can you read the last date on this message?
The very last date?
Yes.
August 9th of 2013.
And when were you sexually assaulted by Tanner Horn?
August 11th.
I'm going to show you page, it's going to be still States Exhibit 291, but page 26. The next page. What is that next date?
November 28th of 2013.
I'm not good at math, but there's a few months between that.
Yes.
Why was there a gap in those messages?
I did not want to speak to Tanner during that time due to what happened on August 11th. I was very uncomfortable with it and felt that he had no respect for me and that my conversation with him previously was disregarded.
Show you page 40. And what is going on during these messages at this time?
I had loaned Tanner a Kingdom Hearts game for the PSP and I was trying to get it back.
Had you asked previously for this game back?
Yes.
Is this essentially what we're reading about here?
Yes.
Can you read these?
From the beginning or starting December 1st.
You can start on December 4th. And yeah, can you read that whole date?
Yes.
Or December 1st, yeah, that's fine.
December 1st, 2013, I messaged him,
Is that 2014 or 2014?
2014, I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
And then on December 4th of 2014, he messaged me, "If you want your MFing game, just come and effing get it, Jesus effing Christ." I responded, "I have no effing time, Tanner. You told me you'd mail it, you didn't. You told me you'd try to bring it to me and you didn't. Mailing is not that effing hard."
For record purposes, you're saying effing, but The full word is there.
Yes, the full word is there.
Okay. Show you, next page, 41. Continue. With that, even.
Tanner then replied, I don't even have envelopes, I'm broke as F. Is it okay if I say the word?
Yes.
I don't even have the envelopes, I'm broke as fuck. How the fuck can I fucking mail something if I don't have anything to mail it in? God fucking damn. I said, ask your grandparents. I guarantee you they have stamps and envelopes. He said, they don't. I've tried and they won't buy shit for me anymore, which is understandable. I said, ask Cody then. He told you how to do it and he has some. It's effort, Tanner. He said, you're sitting here telling me to put forth effort. What effort have you made to even come get it? That's what I fucking, and then it goes to the next page.
Next page, page 42.
That's what I fucking thought. I said, I have asked Nakota 25 different times and he has said no. The only way I can go get it is if I walk and I can't walk that far because of my knee. So quit being a prick and just do what you told me you'd do when I loaned you the game, give it the fuck back. He then said, I'm a prick, fuck you cunt. I said, yeah, you are a prick. Warning you now, if I have to give gas money to someone or walk to get my fucking game, it's not going to be fucking pretty. I'm going to be severely pissed. And he responded, K.
And what was that next message about?
That next message is on December 5th of 2014. It starts with, hey, sorry about what I've said earlier. I've been stressed a lot lately, even though that's not, and then it continues to the next page. I've been stressed a lot lately, even though that's not an excuse. That's not how you're supposed to talk to your friends. That was childish and immature of me to do. I apologize.
So that whole little bit was all because you loaned him a video game?
And I asked for it back, yes. And I had no way to retrieve it from him, and he told me that he was going to get it to me.
And that previous date, I have to look up 21, can you show us that date at the top? What is that date?
December 5th of 2014, the next day after the anger explosion.
And what's the next date in these messages?
May 17th of 2016.
And can you just read that line?
Please tell me you guys aren't at Pizza Hut.
When we're talking about you guys aren't at Pizza Hut, what is this about?
This is about me and Shaylee Moore being at Pizza Hut.
And what happened at Pizza Hut?
We were there to see her friend, and Tanner saw us and proceeded to message me, confirming that I was there with Shay.
Can you read this one?
It says, please tell me you guys aren't at Pizza Hut. I said, yeah, we are waiting on someone. Why? Tanner said I was going to come up and say hi till I saw Shay there, so I just kind of decided against it. I said, probably a good idea. He said, for real though.
So why did you not want to say hi?
Because
Your Honor calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Show you, so at the top of this, can you read the date at the very top?
November 8th, 2016.
Okay. And then what's the date in the middle?
April 29th, 2017.
So another large gap in time happened. Can you tell us what's happening here in these messages?
Tanner had sent me the new trailer for the live action remake of the anime Death Note.
The anime Death Note. Who was the character in that?
Misa Misa.
And that's what we talked about earlier.
Yes, ma'am.
So why did he reach out to you in July 2017? What is that?
Judge, Your Honor, speculation.
Sustained.
Have you and Tanner previously talked about this trailer or Death Note?
Death Note, yes.
Is that something y'all had in common?
Yes.
Are these messages talking about that Death Note?
Yes.
Can you read these?
Yes, Tanner sent me a new trailer. I said, I'm not excited about it. Tanner said, L is black and it bugs me, and I can't read the next message due to the arrow at the bottom.
We'll go to page 46.
I said, the whole setup bugs me. Gonna end up bringing my Misa cosplay to work though for the release of the movie. Tanner said, I forgot you did a Misa cosplay, LOL, but I'm probably gonna watch it just because I love Death Note, but I have a feeling it's going to bomb harder than the Twin Towers. I then responded, harder than an Ariana Grande concert, but probably gonna watch it too. Tanner then said, just saying though, William Dafoe is Ryuk. I said, I know, I don't know if I want to be excited, and then it goes to the next page.
Page 47.
I finished that sentence with, I don't know if I want to be excited or not. Tanner said, I'm not going to judge it too hard till I actually see it, but I'm definitely lowering my expectations. I said, I'm iffy. Who do they have playing Miss, but I autocorrected to Miss Misa. Tanner said, let me check. I said, if she's not in the movie, I'll be pissed. Tanner said, I feel so bad for Misa. I said, who is it? Am I going to cry? I was hoping it'd be Margot Robbie because she's perfect. And then it goes to the next page. Tanner then said, nah, just how I treated her. And yeah, you're right, she is. Sent me a screenshot of the actress playing Misa, which is Margaret Qualley. I said, ew, no, I'm upset now. Tanner said, she ain't even blonde. I said, Margot would be much better. And it goes to the next page.
Page 49.
He sent me a photo of William Dafoe sitting in the back of a car and said it's Ryuk. I said it works, but I have to see the makeup and everything first. Tanner said it's probably going to be CGI. I said, WTF, no. If they're going to do Ryuk, it needs to be stilts and the waist cincher and full makeup mask. Tanner said it's Netflix, so I'm guessing they'll have a good budget. I said if it's CGI, I'll cry, and then it goes to the next page.
Page 50.
Tanner said, I just hope it's at least good. I said they whitewashed it. He said, what do you mean? I said, no one is Asian. He said, especially L. I said, like it's fucked. The guy who plays Light is horrid. And then he sent me a photo of the character who's playing, the character L and the person who is playing him. And then it goes to the next page.
Page 51.
I said, WTF. He said, IK, which stands for I know. I said, that's so wrong. He said, it's blasphemy. I'm not racist, but good damn, he ain't no fucking N-word.
And for the record, can you spell that?
Nigger.
Okay.
I said, exactly. He said, he looks the exact opposite. He's supposed to look like an emo tweaker. And then it goes to the next page.
And this is back, let me use my eyes here. This would be July of 2017, correct?
Yes.
Okay. After July of 2017, what was the relationship? I guess you can tell me, what was your relationship like now in this time period, 2017, and then after?
In 2017, I remained civil, and then after I started as civil, but started to get more friendly.
In 2018, did you come across the defendant?
Yes.
At some point, did you take some pictures or do something for the defendant?
Yes, I took photos of the band he was in at a local venue while they were playing. The band hired me to shoot the photos.
What was your relationship like at the defendant at that time?
Civil.
Did you have a sexual relationship with the defendant at all?
Absolutely not.
Did he ever try to have a sexual relationship or anything with you?
He tried to kiss me at the bar, and I told him no, and he did stop at that time.
Did he tell you anything at that time?
He told me I was more fun when I was younger.
At some point, did you report this case?
Yes.
When was that?
Shortly after I received a call from my mother asking me how a mutual friend of ours knew Tanner because he was the one that is...
Sustain, don't testify for what other people told you.
Yes, sir.
Did you report case?
Yes.
How has this affected you?
Very badly. I have been struggling mentally since the news was announced online. It has been very hard on me. I have felt guilt due to the fact that if I had reported, things may not have happened to other people as they are accused.
Have you sought any counseling or therapy?
I did. I actually have a therapy appointment tomorrow morning.
Cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Hagerman, these two incidents that you spoke about occurred in the summer of 2013, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
The first one happened either at the end of June or the very beginning of July?
I want to say it was beginning of June. I can't remember the exact date,
At the
unfortunately.
beginning of June?
Roundabout.
Okay. And then the second one happened, you said August the 13th?
August 11th of
I'm sorry,
2013.
August the 11th of 2013. Sorry about that. I want to talk a little bit about your dating history. When you first met Tanner, you said that you were about 15 years old?
16. I had just turned 16 in November.
At the time, you were dating a man that was in his band.
Yes.
And in fact, he's the one that introduced you to Tanner, is that correct?
Yes.
That's because they were best friends in the same band?
Yes.
The man that you were dating in the band, he was 21 years old?
Yes.
How long have you all been together?
Before I was introduced to Tanner, maybe a few weeks.
And how long were y'all together total?
A few months, maybe a couple. I can't recall exactly.
Before you dated Jonathan, is that the name of the man you were dating?
Yes, ma'am.
Before you were dating Jonathan, you were involved with another man named Cody, is that correct?
I'm going to object to relevance of her dating history.
Where are we heading with this?
Your Honor, it goes for credibility.
Oh, your objection sustained.
Yeah.
No, your objection sustained. You may make a bill if you need to, at some point.
Okay. So you were 16 years old, dating a 21-year-old, and then you two broke up.
Yes.
After you broke up with, or after Jonathan broke up with you, that's when you began dating Tanner.
Yes.
How long after you and Jonathan broke up did you begin dating Tanner?
Very shortly, I did it because I thought it was going to hurt Jonathan's feelings. I was 16 and very childish.
And so you and Jonathan broke up, I want to say it was in May?
End of May.
End of May, and then by the beginning of June, you already moved on.
I wouldn't call it moved on, more so as, again, I was being childish and petty.
I want to talk a little bit about the band that Tanner was in at the time.
Yes.
You had testified earlier that that you had gone to Tanner's house with Jonathan.
Yes.
And that was to do band practice.
Yes.
Was the gentleman that I referred to earlier by the name Cody, was he also in that band?
In Recover the Lost, I don't think so. I can't recall exactly.
What kind of music did this band play?
Like post-hardcore screaming, yelling music.
Not kind of you hear on a top 40 station?
No, ma'am.
And you would go and watch the band practice, is that right?
Yes.
How often would you watch them practice?
I believe I only went a couple times.
Where did they practice?
In Tanner's shed.
So you had been to Tanner's house on several occasions?
Yes.
Was it just you that was there watching the band practice, or was anybody else there watching as well?
I believe there was another girlfriend of one of the members there watching as well. I don't remember her name.
You just didn't watch the band practice, you also went to some of their shows, correct?
Yes.
And there were lots of, about how many shows did you go watch?
In that specific time or in total?
That specific time.
That specific time, I can remember maybe 2.
Well, I want to go back a little bit to the practices. When you went to the practices, there was drinking going on, wasn't there?
I cannot recall on that one.
And sometimes at practices, people would smoke weed.
Yes.
And you would smoke weed at practices.
Yes.
And no one forced you to smoke marijuana, did they?
No.
And if you were drinking, no one forced you to drink either, did they?
No.
Because by the time you had met Tanner, you had already been drinking and drugging. Is that correct?
I had already been drinking and smoking marijuana, yes.
But you'd also been smoking meth.
Objection. I don't know what the relevance is. Objection.
Overruled. I'll let her answer it if she can.
Not that I can recall, no.
You don't recall telling Tanner that Jonathan had introduced you to meth?
I remember telling Jonathan that, not Jonathan, I'm so sorry. I remember telling Tanner that Jonathan and a friend of his were smoking meth and wanted me to, and I told them no, and Jonathan blew it in my face.
And you put that's what you messaged Tanner in the Facebook messages?
I can't recall the exact messages that I sent him. Are they in the messages I have in front of me?
Hold on 1 minute. If you look at page number 17. Are these sandwich?
You might refer to it by date.
I will.
Yes, I have it here.
Okay. And I was going to ask if the state could put that one up on the screen.
Mr. Ferry? Okay.
Right there.
I do remember this.
Okay, so we're now looking at June 19th of 2013, where you said, I have the one I loved name permanently etched into my body. I cry all the time, and I can honestly say the happiest I've been is when I smoked meth. I can honestly thank Jonathan for that. He showed me happiness when he smoked it with me, and one goddamn day, I hope it kills me.
Yes, I do remember this. It was that same night. I do apologize for my misspeaking earlier.
So I'm sorry, I didn't. I want to talk to you a little bit about Tanner.
Yes.
Over the years that you have known Tanner, that you have had the opportunity to observe his personality.
Yes, ma'am.
And you notice that he is a little socially awkward.
Yes, ma'am.
And that, according to you, that Tanner seemed to try to pick up pieces of other people's personalities.
Yes.
And he would try to fit in using those bits and pieces of personality.
Yes.
And you felt that Tanner was basically scared when he really wanted to be cool.
Yes.
All right. So let's talk a little bit more about these Facebook Messenger posts. Now, you said earlier that after you met Tanner, you messaged each other on occasion and would talk on Facebook Messenger.
Yes.
All right. So on May 20th, you reached out to Tanner via Facebook Messenger. I believe. That's on page 7. And you told him that you wanted, can you put the page 7?
Yes, I will. I've not had that in years.
All right, so you reached out to Tanner and you said that you wanted to apologize for annoying him while at Charlie's. You were being dumb to worry about him, and I hope you feel better soon and find yourself a good girl. See you around, Tanner. Who is Charlie?
Charlie is a mutual friend of ours.
And what is Charlie's last name?
Burris.
So when you had reached out to Charlie, you said that you had been annoying Tanner that night, and you were apologizing for annoying Tanner.
Yes.
So was this the incident at Charlie's house when you were basically being called out for being sexually aggressive towards Tanner?
I do not remember that. When I was talking about this, I was saying I was being dumb to worry about him. I was talking to Tanner about Jonathan.
Now, in this same conversation, you were talking about, and actually on June 19th of 2013, that would be page 8.
Yes.
Now, you reached out to Tanner again on June 18th of 2008, and would you please read the first couple of exchanges?
Yes, I said, dude. He said, yes. I said, I'm a strong, independent man whore who don't need no life. Tanner said, LOL, what? I said, IDEK, which stands for I don't even know. I'm 5 ever alone.
Okay, so you yourself referred to yourself as a man whore?
Yes, I did.
Also, during that conversation, you talked about dating older men.
I believe so. What page would I be looking at?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to talk about her dating older men.
Oh, really? If it's in the exhibits, you can go into it.
Anything in exhibits outside of that? Yes, it's in the exhibit. Let's look at June 19th. I believe it's on page 14.
said page 19?
Yeah, and Your Honor, I'm going to apologize. Their numbers are a little off the ones that we had before, so.
If you refer to the messages by date,
That's
it
what
may
I'm
be
gonna
better.
do. Okay, so on June the 19th, you had spoken in the exhibits, and the jury will be able to take this exhibit back.
Correct.
And look at it. So, but you recall on June 19th where you talked with Tanner about dating older men?
It looks like I was talking about a guy I was interested in and Jonathan in this conversation.
And Jonathan was older than you.
Yes,
Tanner was older than you.
yes,
Cody was older than you.
yes,
And all of these men were in their 20s when you were dating them at 16.
yes.
And no one forced you to date any of these men, did they?
No.
You dated them because you wanted to, for
Yes.
no reason. When you first started dating Tanner, or I'm sorry, when you first split up with Jonathan, you said that Tanner had started showing some interest in you. And at the time, you thought that he was really sweet, didn't you?
I did.
And you knew that he had Asperger's.
I was informed by him that he had Asperger's. I never saw any documentation stating such.
But you and Tanner had a lot of mutual interests.
Yes,
Music and animals and things like that.
yes,
All right, so when you were dating Tanner, he was never really handsy with you, was he?
not in public.
And at the time that you were dating him, you had made it known that you would hit someone if they touched you when you didn't want to be touched.
Yes,
And you made sure that Tanner knew that from the beginning, right?
yes.
All right, so let's talk about this first incident back in 2013. Was that one of the nights that you had gone to see a show?
I can't remember if we saw a show that day.
But you knew you were going to be partying that night,
Yes,
and you knew you were going to be drinking.
yes.
No one forced you to drink.
No, ma'am.
You drank because you wanted to.
Yes, ma'am.
You also knew you were going to be doing drugs,
Yes, ma'am.
and no one forced you to do the drugs.
No, ma'am.
No one threatened you to do the drugs.
No, ma'am.
Okay. And you went back to Tanner's shed because you wanted to.
Yes, ma'am.
No one forced you.
No, ma'am.
No one threatened you to, if you didn't go.
No, ma'am.
You went to Tanner's place to get run free will.
Yes,
And it was your plan from the beginning to spend the night there.
yes,
So when you went and laid down, you said that Tanner was in bed with you.
yes,
And and that Tanner made the first move,
yes,
and you went along with it.
yes.
When you had your forensic interview with the Fort Worth police detective, do you recall telling him that that encounter was consensual?
In the act that I did not say no, yes, I was still a minor child at 16.
But do you recall telling him that it was consensual?
I'll let her answer.
Yes,
You also spoke with the DAs, and you've also spoken with our investigators,
yes,
and do you recall telling our investigators that that encounter was also consensual?
yes,
This incident, the first time you had sex with Tanner, you said occurred in June of 2013. And as shortly thereafter, you were already texting him, messaging him, reaching out to him via Facebook Messenger.
yes,
During one of these times that you reached out to him, you were bragging or telling him about a sexual encounter you had had with another woman.
probably.
And this was in July of 2013. In fact, that was on July 8th of 2013.
Do you know what page that's on so I can refresh my memory?
I apologize. Their exhibit is, the page numbers are just slightly off from the one that I have. But it would be on July the 8th. I would say around page 21 or 22. And I believe it might be on page 13.
Ah, I see it here. Yes, I see it.
Okay. So now let's fast forward to August the 11th of 2013. Tanner had invited you over to his friend's, or to his apartment in Hazelwood.
It was his friend's apartment that he was staying with. He was not on the lease that I can remember.
So you were invited by Tanner,
Yes,
and you went over there willingly.
yes,
You knew you were going to be drinking.
Yes.
You knew you were going to be smoking.
Yes.
And no one forced you to drink or smoke, did they?
No, ma'am.
All right. After you went to bed, you said that Tanner came into the room, and then that's when y'all had sex again.
That is when I woke up to him having sex with me, yes.
Well, that's not what you told our investigator, is it? In fact, you told them it was consensual. Do you remember that?
I don't remember talking about the second time with y'all, no.
You testified earlier regarding these Facebook messages that after this August 11 encounter, that you tried to be off-put and dismissive and you tried to be as rude as possible. But you continued to initiate contact with Tanner via Facebook Messenger.
Yes.
So you initiated contact with him on November the 28th of 2013. And you initiated contact with him on December the 18th of 2013. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
And with the December of 2013, you asked Tanner to give you a ride to a show. Is that right?
Yes, I believe it was a show that he was performing, the South by So What. I was trying to go so I could hang out with Shay and watch him perform.
But you asked Tanner to give you the ride to the show.
Yes.
All right. And then in January of 2014, you reached out to him again and told him that you had some weed, right?
Yes, I did.
And you asked him if he wanted to chill.
Yes.
And you even told him that you were right by his house, insinuating that you wanted to come over to his house, right?
Yes, I believe we actually went to the park down the street.
And then in March of 2014, you initiated contact again and asked him to go to a show with you.
I believe so. Roundabout what page would this be on?
It's March the 27th of 2014.
Yes.
And then again on March the 28th, you got back in touch with them again.
Yes.
And then again on April the 13th, you tried to video chat.
April the 13th. Yes, I see the audio call.
And when you didn't respond, what did you message him after that?
I said answer me back.
All right, so on April the 14th, you and Tanner had a phone call. Is that right?
Yes.
And then on May the 27th of 2014, you initiated contact with him again.
Yes.
And you asked him to come hang out with you.
Yes.
And then later that year, y'all had the fight about the video game, right?
Yes. I believe so.
After the fight about the video game, Tanner apologized for what he said the next day.
Yes.
After a while, I know that you two had lost contact, but at some point, you started up another messenger thread and contact with Messenger, right?
I believe so. Do we have a date so I could find it in the messages?
Let's say it was July of 2017 when Tanner sent you the death note, right?
Yes, I see this.
All right, and then later there was some time that y'all didn't have contact, but then in October of 2018 you agreed to do a photo shoot for the band, is that right?
Yes.
And in November you did that photo shoot and posted the photos, is that right?
Yes.
But also in November of 2018, you and Tanner talked about your job, and you encouraged him to come and apply where you work.
Yes.
And in fact, in November of 2018, you also asked him to help you move.
Yes, I did.
And he helped you, didn't he?
Yes, I did.
Ms. Haberman, You had said that you've been to Tanner's house and that you had met his grandparents. Would that be Bill and Jackie Hobson?
I didn't know their names at the time, but it was the older woman in the house, so I assume his grandmother.
And you were there in the house at times when his grandfather would yell at him, weren't you?
I can't recall.
You don't recall telling our investigators that you heard Mr. Harbison hurl insults at Tanner?
It's been so long that I can't remember. I'm so sorry.
You don't recall telling our investigators that Mr. Harbison referred to Tanner as a chip stain on the face of society?
I would need to see my statement. Unfortunately, I can't recall. It's been a couple years.
And you were aware that there had also been some physical altercations between Tanner and his grandfather?
Yes, Tanner had informed me of those.
And after one of those physical altercations, Tanner tried to kill himself?
Yes, I believe so. He tried to hang himself on Facebook Live, I believe.
One moment.
Redirect.
Briefly, Judge. You were asked, or as you were, these older men forced you to date them. Did you force these older men to date you?
Absolutely not.
How old are you?
16.
Would you consider yourself socially awkward?
Yes.
You stated earlier you lived with your grandma.
Yes.
Is that something you and Tanner Horner had in common?
Yes.
And how was your childhood? Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Sustained.
She's already testified to her childhood.
I know, so it's repetitious.
And when you stated that you were a band whore in these messages, what did you mean by that?
That was a term that was going around on a website called Tumblr, which a lot of young people use to repost things about bands. And it was a term that a lot of younger music fans used in that day to say, oh, I'm a band whore. I love all of these bands. They're so great. It was not in reference to me being a whore sexually.
Any further?
Two questions.
Okay.
Did you file charges for statutory rape against Jonathan Harvey?
No, I did not.
Did you file charges against Chris White for statutory rape?
No, I did not.
Nothing further.
Anything else?
Nothing else, Judge.
Okay. You're gonna need to stick around for just a few minutes, okay?
Yes, sir.
So put her in the witness room. I would like to get started with the next witness, and then when the jury's lunch gets here, we'll break. Okay? Who do you have next? Come on, please, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, this witness has been previously sworn to testify truthfully. Mr. Stakey. Oh, sorry about that. All right, let's do a do-over. Ladies and gentlemen, this witness has been previously sworn to testify truthfully.
He raped me in December of 2014.
Now, what age were you when you first came in contact with him?
I would say around 14.
At the 7th grade?
Yes, sir.
And was Tanner still in school or out of school?
I believe he had already graduated.
And what geographic area were you in when you were having contact with Tanner when you were in the 7th grade?
Like, where was I living at the time?
What places were you having contact with?
We would hang out at the park in Azle with mutual friends around the same time, and that was how we first came in contact.
At some point after that, when you were in 14, did you similarly hang out with Tanner and some of his friends?
A few times, yes.
And we heard a little bit about this, but were they a band?
Yes, sir.
And how many different bands that you had, did you hang out with? Was it multiple or just one?
As far as his band, only one.
And as far as this particular band, when did you begin, I'll just use the term hanging out, we'll talk about it, but when did you begin hanging out?
It would have been November of 2014.
And let's talk about, when I say hanging out with the band, what type of things were you doing with the band?
I was being picked up and taken to his friend's house for band practice, and I went to a few of their shows.
So at this point in time, in November of 2014, what you said?
Yes, sir.
How old are you in November of 2014?
I had just turned 16.
And so November 4th of 2014, you would have turned 16.
Yes, sir.
And you said this sexual assault occurred a month after that in December of 2014.
Yes, sir.
So during this time, you said that you would go to shows. What kind of shows were these?
Small band shows at Tomcats in Fort Worth.
Is Tomcats the name of the establishment?
Yes, sir.
And what type of establishment is this?
It was a bar music venue combo.
And would this be where Tanner is also performing in this band?
Yes, sir.
And as far as that's concerned, I'm going to ask you, did you have a friend by the name of Kaylin Hagerman?
Yes, sir.
And is that how you got to know Tanner?
She was one of our mutual friends, yes.
And was she around the band as well?
Yes, sir.
And should you exhibit here? Sorry.
That's all right.
States 294. And as with the other stuff on it, do you recognize that picture?
Yes, sir.
And you recognize who took that picture?
I believe it was Kaylin.
Okay. And do you recognize the people that are in this picture?
Yes, sir.
And what date was that taken?
It was posted on November 21st. It was taken the night before.
So this was taken, say it again,
November 20th
of
2014.
2014. And in this picture, who's in this picture?
Tanner, from left to right, Tanner Horner, myself, Cody Spiker, Charles Wooldridge, and then the other gentleman whose name I don't fully remember.
Unknown band member.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the United States 294.
States Exhibits 294s have been.
And let me ask you, in this picture, how old are you in this picture?
16 years old.
And if this is taken November 20th, is that, if my arithmetic correct, how many days after your 16th birthday?
Less than 3 weeks.
Okay. So at this particular time, in November of 2014, you said you went to a couple of shows. Were those both at this Tomcat place?
Yes, sir.
And then you also said you went to band practice, is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
And where did you go to band practice?
At Charles Wooldridge's house.
Is that one of those other people in the picture?
Yes, sir.
And so at this particular time, and you're hanging out with these people, do you know what general area Charles Wooldridge's house is? Is it Tarrant County, Wise County, where is it?
It's in Tarrant County. It's in Arlington, if I recall correctly. Arlington.
And so during this time, Judge, can we publish that to the viewers?
States 294?
Yes.
Sure.
Who is this on the left here, the only female in this?
That's me, sir.
That's you. So this location in Arlington, what was the primary purpose of the band being at this location?
They would have a party the night before and band the next morning, or afternoon rather.
And so during this time, in November of 2014, you said that you ended up at this location. How was it that you ended up from where you were to this location?
Cody Spiker came and picked me up from my grandmother's house and drove me there.
Now, this guy, Cody Spiker, is he also in that picture?
Yes, sir.
Let me just ask you, how old is Cody Spiker?
Approximately the same age as Tanner Horner.
At that time, how old is Cody Spiker?
He would have been approximately 21 to 23 range.
And at this time, you're a month after your 16th birthday. How old is Tanner Horner?
23.
So if my arithmetic right, that's 7 years older than you?
Yes, sir.
So these times that you go to band practice, where were you living at that time?
I was living in Roanoke.
And who were you living with?
My grandmother.
Now, your grandmother, would she have approved, if you know, of you being at band practice with these individuals?
No, sir.
And I'm going to ask you some other questions, but would she approve of what you were doing at these band practices with these other individuals?
No, sir.
And during this time, besides band practice, is there some drinking going on?
Yes, sir.
And is there some smoking going on?
Yes, sir.
And you're participating?
Yes, sir.
Now, as part of this, you said initially that Tanner had raped you in December.
Yes, sir.
And let me just ask you, where was that location that took place?
That was at that was at Charles Woldridge's house in Arlington.
In December of when?
December of 2014.
Now, do you know the exact date?
The early morning of December 6th of 2014.
Now, let's talk about, at some point, was there ever a conversation between you and Tanner regarding your age being 16?
Yes, sir.
And can you tell the jury what was the substance of that conversation between you and Tanner about your age?
There were multiple conversations, but the gist of them, to my recollection, was him trying to convince me that we should be in a relationship, and me telling him that I could not do that because he was 7 years older than me, and I couldn't lie about something that big, and I couldn't be with somebody with that much of an age difference between us.
So at this point in time, and how did you communicate with him? Was it, you just communicated every way, but was it verbally, was it by?
It was written communication via Facebook Messenger and an app called Kik.
Any doubt in your mind that he knew your age?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt?
No, sir, sorry.
Any doubt in your mind that he knew that you had a problem with the difference between you two's age as it applied to dating?
No, sir.
Now, let's talk about this. Let's go back to your 16th birthday. Did you have a happy 16th birthday?
No, sir.
And why didn't you have a happy 16th?
I had just gone through a breakup with my high school sweetheart of sorts.
And was that upsetting to you?
Yes, sir.
And when you're 16 and you just broke up with your high school sweetheart, what do you do?
Depends on the person, but for me, I kind of just sought attention and tried to stay busy.
And this is the time in which you've broken up and you began hanging out with Tanner Horner.
Yes, sir.
And let's talk about your relationship with Tanner Horner. At any point, did you tell him that you wanted to have a relationship with him?
No, sir.
At any point, did you tell him that you wanted to have sex with him?
No, sir.
In fact, did you ever have an altercation where he attempted something with you and y'all had a discussion about what he did?
Yes, sir.
And where was that?
That was at Tomcats in November of 2014.
Was this at one of these shows?
Yes, sir, and if I remember correctly, I believe it was the night that picture was taken.
So the night this picture was taken, you had a conversation with Tanner. What's that conversation?
When I first got there, he told me that his mother was going to be coming and to tell her that I was 18 if she asked about my age. And then as the night progressed, he had kissed me, and afterwards we had a conversation the next day about how I couldn't do anything physical with him because of the age difference.
So this sounds like the second time you made that clear to you.
Yes, sir.
And this was in response to him trying to kiss you.
Yes, sir.
Now, you said Tanner Horner told you to tell his mom you were 18.
Yes, sir.
Why was that?
Because he knew that she would be, he told me that he told me that she would be upset if she found out that I was 16, as well as his bandmates. He also told me to tell them that I was 18, though Cody Spiker knew my real age.
So going into this weekend, December 6th and 7th, are we doing a show or are we doing band practice?
It was band practice.
And so how does 16-year-old Shay?
I had told my grandmother that I was staying the weekend with a friend, and it was a friend that I was supposed to be getting picked up from their house at the end of the weekend. So I was going to go to band practice late Friday night on the 5th. We were going to have some drinks, hang out. They were going to do practice, actual practice, on the day of the 6th. And then the evening of the 6th, we went to Tanner Horner's house.
I'm going to pick this apart a little bit. So what I'm getting at is that you told your grandma a lot.
Yes, sir.
And so you would have cover so you could hang out late.
Yes, sir.
And do a little drinking.
Yes, sir.
Now, to get to Arlington or your grandma's house on this particular weekend, how do you get from point A to point B?
Cody Spiker picked me up from my grandmother's house and drove me to Charles Woldridge's house.
guys got a picture of yourself.
Yes, sir.
Cody's home. All right. So you get there, what do you do when you get there?
It's pretty late. We're drinking, smoking some weed, listening to music, hanging out. Initially, it's nothing out of the norm for a general house party besides the fact that I was there at 16.
And so how does the night progress? What happens?
We are drinking, and then eventually everything starts to wind down. People are starting to go to sleep, and I am told by Cody Spiker that me and Tanner were going to be sleeping in a bedroom, and Cody was going to be sleeping on the couch with his, at the time, partner.
All right. So a few weeks ago, you had a conversation with Tanner, and you testified that you would mistreated him.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry. I'm just rolling on. Sorry. You had a conversation where you said you were clear with him, you did not want a relationship.
Yes, sir.
So prior to this weekend, was that less than a month on my calculations?
Yes, sir.
And had those same conversations that you said by Facebook Messenger and your app, what was it called again?
KIK. K-I-K.
Okay. Do you have those conversations in that same period as well?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt in your mind that Tanner Horner understands that you don't want to have a relationship?
No, sir.
So we've been drinking. We're at Cody Spiker's house or Charles Woolridge's house with band. Everybody's, I guess, crashing out, if you will. And did you find a place to crash out?
Yes, we were sleeping in one of the main bedrooms of the house.
And let's be honest with the jury. How much did you have in here?
A lot. I lost count at like 7 shots, and I had a few beers, plus we were smoking as well.
At this point in time, did you bring the alcohol with you?
No, sir.
Did you bring the weed with you?
No, sir.
This was provided to you by the bank.
Yes, sir.
Now, when this is going on, y'all were crashing out, you said, was it a guest house or just another bedroom in there?
It was just one of the bedrooms in the house.
And at some point, did you crash out?
Yes, sir. We go and we lay down.
All right. Anything at that time going on out of the ordinary?
As we were laying down, it was a pretty big bed, so I went to one side and he began to try to cuddle with me, and I told him that I didn't want to cuddle, I just wanted to go to sleep, I didn't want to be touched.
All right. And I think you said before that because of how much alcohol you had, you don't remember every single second that went on from the time you got to bed until you got
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But let's talk about what you do. So you go to sleep. Do you sleep all night, or do you wake up at some point during the night?
I wake up at some point during the night.
And what causes you to wake up at some point during the night?
I became conscious and came to Tanner Horner raping me.
Now, I'm going to ask you some questions about that, okay? I'm not trying to pry into your private life, I'm going to ask you some questions. When you say that Tanner Horner is raping you understand it's not legal for a 23-year-old to have sex with a 16-year-old?
Yes, sir.
At any point, did you consent to have any sexual relationship, even if you couldn't consent by law, with Tanner Horner?
No, sir.
And so you woke up with him raping you. Now, what does that mean? Describe it. What do you mean? What does he do?
There are 2 specific moments that I remember as I was in and out of consciousness. He was on top of me. I was laying on my back. He had his penis inside of me, and his sweat dripped into my mouth. And then I remember coming to again, and I was on my stomach, and he had my hands pinned behind my back, and he was continuing to rape me.
Let's talk about this. You said that he was on top of you. Now, let me ask a question about that, or more of a physical question. The jury's seen a picture of you at the time, at or near the time.
Yes, sir.
Now, not to be rude to you, but were you bigger or smaller now than you were then?
I was quite a bit smaller.
Okay. And with regard to Tanner, as you see him in the courtroom today, was he bigger or smaller than he is today?
He was significantly bigger.
Okay. And so, at that point in time, you said he was on top of you?
Yes, sir.
And you indicated that his penis is inside you?
Yes, sir.
Now, with that, besides Tanner sweating on you, what else is he doing?
He is continuously thrusting in and out of my body, grunting.
Okay. And then you said that the next thing you remember is you're on your stomach.
Yes, sir.
Now, is the bigger version of Tanner still on top of you?
Yes, sir.
Now, at this point, were you able to push yourself up off him physically?
No, sir.
And even if you had been sober at the time, would you have been able to push yourself off?
No, sir.
And is that because of the weight difference with the time?
Yes, sir.
Now, the second time you said that he's on top of you, you said his penis is inside you again, and can you show the jury how that he had his hands pinned behind your back? How does that work?
I was laying on the bed, and he had my hands on the low of my back.
Like that?
Yes, sir.
And he had his hand, was it his hand holding your hands together?
I only recall one hand specifically.
Okay. But whatever it was, you weren't able to pull your hand back around.
Yes, sir.
What's the next thing you remember after that?
We woke up in the morning, went about morning as usual. I had no recollection of the night before.
So at that point in time, you get out of bed, are you still fuzzy from the night before?
I'm definitely still a little out of it.
All right. You've got some memory today. When did your memory come back to you about what Tina Horn had done to you that night?
When he made a secondary attempt at assaulting me on the morning of the 7th.
So let's talk about that. We're in Arlington, we're at Charles Woolridge's house, right? You get up, how do you get from the secondary location? What is the secondary location?
Tanner Horner's house.
And when we say his house, we've seen some pictures here. Is it just one big house, or are there multiple buildings? What's it?
There was one main house, and he had a room in a shed in the backyard.
Now, this particular shed in the backyard, did y'all arrive and go into the main house or the shed?
We went through the main house to get to the shed.
Right. And as far as this shed, is it a big shed, small shed? What do you remember?
I would say it's on the slightly bigger side for sheds, but it wasn't exactly like house size shed or anything.
Have you ever been to his house before?
No, sir.
And who took you to his house?
Cody Spiker.
Was it just you and Cody, or was it somebody else in the vehicle?
It was Cody Spiker and myself, and Tanner and myself, this day specifically.
So when this is going on, do you remember what time it is on day 2 that you finally arrive at Tanner's house?
It was pretty late in the day. It was dark outside, but I don't remember the time.
Okay. And so you get there, you get to the shed, what happens next?
He and I go through the house, go into the shed, we're hanging out, and then he hits up one of his friends to bring some acid over.
Okay. So Tanner Horner called somebody to bring drugs to the house?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever done those drugs before?
No, sir.
And so how does that work?
In regards to what exactly?
Well, I mean, what do y'all do?
His friend shows up, he gives me and Tanner the acid. His friend doesn't take any. The three of us are hanging out for a while, where they're playing music videos on the TV, and then his friend leaves, and things kind of start to wind down for the night.
So taking this acid, I mean, did anybody force you to do that?
No, sir.
This was your first time?
Yes, sir.
And so you're there in the house. I'm not going to ask you a lot of details about that, but how long does that go on? I don't know the terminology, but how long does it go on from the time that you do it till the time you do it?
It varies from my understanding, 6 to 8 hours on average. But for my experience specifically, it was around the 7-ish hour mark.
Okay. So during that hour mark, is anything going on during that 7 hour?
Mostly we're just watching TV or watching music videos specifically, hanging out, talking, and then at the end we are laying down because I'm ready to go to sleep. It's approximately 7 a.m. at this point, and that was when the secondary attempt was made.
And let's talk about that and walk through that. You're laying down, you're coming down off whatever you take.
Yes, sir.
You lay down. What does Tanner do when you lay down?
He lays down behind me and begins touching me.
You say touching. Let's be more specific. What is he doing when he's touching?
More specifically, I was laying on my right side on the edge of the bed. I was kind of just scrolling, just trying to occupy my brain for a few minutes because I couldn't quite fall asleep. And he begins to trace his hand up and down my side, up and down my leg, my hip, my waist, talking about how he's sorry that my ex hurt me, that he would never hurt me like he did, that he wishes that I didn't have to go through that. And then I began to have brief glimpses of the night before and start to hyperventilate. I'm on the verge of an anxiety attack. He's keeps touching me. Eventually, he starts asking me what's wrong, and I can't bring myself to respond because I didn't know how to even begin to explain what was wrong to the person that was reading me.
So at this point in time, you said things are kind of coming back. Did you say you had a physical response to what was going on here?
Yes, sir. I started hyperventilating.
And so what are you trying to do, if anything, at the point in which Tanner did this?
My body is physically frozen, but since I had my phone in my hand, I did start texting friends to find somebody to come pick me up.
Were they able to come get you?
One person was, yes.
And so it's someone you just get up and walk out and drive off with your friend?
He gets up at some point from behind me. He's pacing around the room. At one point, he's blocking or standing in front of the door. Finally, I get a hold of a friend who says that they can come get me. And she asked me what the address was. So I asked him what his address was. And he told me that he wouldn't give it to me unless I talked to him to tell him what was wrong.
Did you know where you were?
No, sir. I knew that I was close to Azle, Texas, but I didn't know where exactly.
And you've never been to this?
No, sir.
And so, did Tanner give you the information you were asking?
No, sir. He never gave me the information.
How many times do you think you asked him for the address to the house?
I don't recall specifically, but at least 2 or 3.
Okay. And he wouldn't give it to you?
No, sir.
And you said that he was physically in front of the door. Were you trying to leave when that was happening?
In the time that he was blocking the door, I was still standing over beside his bed. I was putting my stuff in my bag, trying to get out of there.
Okay. And were you finally able to get out of there?
Eventually, he moved from in front of the door, and I was able to beeline from beside the bed to out the door, through the backyard, through the back door that went through his grandparents' room where they were sleeping. I went into the dining area, found a piece of mail with his address on it, and hid in the bathroom until my friend could come get me.
At some point, did your friend come get you?
Yes, sir.
Now, initially, did you report this to anyone?
No, sir.
But did you tell anyone?
Yes, sir.
And who did you tell?
I told several of my friends. I told his bandmates knew about it, some of them. I told my brother, that kind of stuff.
Why not law enforcement at that time?
There's a lot of reasons, but ultimately I didn't think that I would be believed.
Now, at some point, you talked to us before about you and Tanner communicating.
Yes, sir.
And did y'all, during this short time that you were hanging out with him, what were some of the subjects that he communicated with you about during that time?
The majority of our conversations revolved around music or the show Doctor Who. But he did disclose that he was into BDSM and rougher sex with me as well.
So these are Tanner Warner having those type of conversations with 16-year-old Shay.
Yes, sir.
Now, at some point during this, did you begin to speak out a little more about what had happened to you?
Yes, sir. I was telling people close to me, though I was limited about exactly how much I told and who I told for a few years. And then in 2018, I became public with it.
And when you went public with it, did Tanner Warner respond when you went public and communicate with you about you talking about what happened to you?
Yes, sir. He messaged me directly.
I'm going to show you.
Yeah, let's stop for lunch, okay? Get an exhibit from the last witness. We will start at 1:30.
Sometime a conversation about
Yeah.
She was 16.
Quotations.
Trying to understand, and from here we can only, well, there we go, we got Sam.
Yep.
Sorry, it's like not showing me a little scrolling bar right now. I don't know why.
Why don't y'all sit down? You see him coming?
Say not to call us here in the back.
Now,
want to see. Afternoon. We are ready to proceed. Mr. State.
Mark, I was asking you with regard taking you to 2018, that's when you had indicated you started openly speaking out about what had happened to you in the hand. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And as part of that, what was Tanner Horner's response on Facebook to you with regard to what you were doing and speaking out about what happened?
He had messaged me directly on Facebook Messenger, claiming that I was slandering him.
All right. Good, ma'am, Coach.
Yes, sir.
You already have that exhibit in front of you, ma'am. And I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 295. Is that the Facebook message that you were talking about?
Yes, sir.
And what is the date on this?
December 20th of 2018.
Okay. And is this where he's indicating that you're somehow slandering him?
Yes, sir.
And what were you saying at the time that that could potentially be construed as slanderous?
I was posting that he was a rapist and that he had raped me when I was 16.
And so have you taken a look at this entire exhibit? Is this the entirety of the message that he sent you?
Yes, sir.
And did you respond to this message in any form or fashion?
No, sir.
Is this a true and correct copy of the message? You recognize it?
Yes, sir.
Judge, I'm going to have to admit State's 295.
State's Exhibit 295 is admitted.
And what I'm going to point you to here is a couple of things here. When it comes here with regard, would you start with however, right where it says however, and read that please?
However, it has come to my attention that you've been going around slandering my name to people, saying that I raped, in quotations, you, when you know that is not the case. In the years since I've talked to you, I have not even once slandered your name or have said anything degrading about your character. I haven't had a reason to. Excuse me.
I'm going to stop right there. And that's what you're talking about, where he's indicating slandering you at that point.
Yes. Yes, sir.
And then this message continues on here. What does he ask you to do at the very end of the message? What does it say?
So I'm asking you out of respect, please stop spreading lies and misinformation about what happened between us.
Are you lying about what happened between you?
No, sir.
So when you got this, what did you feel that Tanner Horner was trying to get you to do?
I was thinking that he expected me to stay quiet, to not speak about my rape, not speak about the things that he had done to me, and the overall view of his character that I was putting out to the world.
Now, this same exact information that you provided us today as to what happened, did you provide the same, or I won't say exactly the same, but the same story to the police when you reported this?
Yes, sir.
And when did you finally report it?
It would have been the Monday following Athena's murder.
You felt at that time compelled that it come forward?
Yes, sir.
Now, at some point, let me ask this. You said that you and Tanner somehow had a conversation about music.
Yes, sir.
And during that time, would he also have an occasion to write music lyrics?
Yes, sir.
And at some point, did you come across a set of music lyrics that you believe relates to you?
Yes, sir.
And what else down here? I'll show you what's marked as States 296. Can you identify that?
That is a picture of Tanner Horner that he posted on his Instagram with song lyrics as the caption.
Yes.
With regard to Tanner Horner's, did he have an Instagram handle?
Yes, sir.
And what was his Instagram?
exhibit, but if she wants to testify to the other things that he told her, I'm going to do that. She testified that he told her when he was into something like that.
You testified a moment ago that you said it could be consent or consent.
Yes.
So you're not positive that that's why that was made?
I never asked him directly, so no, I don't know what he had in mind when he changed his username. I just know that he has told me that he is into consensual non-consent, and that it makes sense for that to be his username.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
Is there an objection?
Yes, it's a speculation. She just said she doesn't know that why you changed his username. She knows that it had a discussion about consent, non-consent, and she knows what his username is, and other than that speculation.
Right, your objection is sustained as far as the exhibit, but if she wants to testify as to the other things that he told her, I'm going to let her do that. She testified that he told her at one point he was into something like that. I'll let her testify to that. But any speculation as to the exhibit is sustained.
So in that vein, am I allowed to ask her about what his username means according to her, if not the exhibit itself? If
No.
she knows that outside of the exhibit?
No?
Okay.
Okay.
Your Honor, we've also raised an objection to the term rape. I believe the charge of sexual assault.
That's overruled. You may have a running objection. Okay, let's go.
So I can't speculate on that.
Prior to the time that you Warner sexually assaulted you, did he ever communicate to you that he had any fantasies or desires with regard to rape or non-consensual sex?
Yes, sir.
And what did he communicate to you about that?
He had communicated to me that he was into consensual non-consent, which is rape fantasy. He had talked to me about how he liked BDSM, he liked the idea of tying people up, those kinds of things.
That's what it's.
Cross-examination.
Afternoon, Court. My name's Nico Warner, met before. So I have a couple of follow-up questions for you. Now, once you did report the sexual assault in, I guess, 2022,
Yes, sir.
you have given a few reported statements about what happened, right?
Yes, sir.
And clarify a few things from those prior statements. Now, you talked about, I believe you already testified, you had plans for that week, right?
Yes, sir.
And this was you and Tanner making a plan to hang out that week.
Yes, sir.
And the plan was, you packed a bag to close the week, correct?
Yes.
And the plan was on Friday and Friday night to stay at the band member's house.
It was to stay Friday night with Charles Wooldridge, or at Charles Wooldridge's house, and then Saturday night at Tanner Horner's house.
Now, to clarify, we were told earlier about what had happened that night. When you woke up that morning, you didn't realize you'd been sexually assaulted.
Correct.
And you took a shower at Charles Wooldridge's house while the band was practicing.
I have no recollection of that.
If I told you that in your original interview with Investigator Lowe and Deputy Ratliff, at the 47:39 mark, you said, yeah, I showered there. And then at the 49:01 mark, you said, from what I can recall, he was dressed when I got up. Then I remember showering while they were doing their band practice.
It's possible. This was 11 years ago. I know that I wasn't hanging out with them while they did band practice, so.
Sure. But if you did, if that was correct recollection that time, and you did shower that morning, you didn't realize that you'd been sexually assaulted at that point.
Correct.
Two of you, I guess Cody Spiker took you to Tanner's place.
Correct.
You dropped after, then hung out.
Yes, sir.
Conversations, watched television, all that sort of thing.
Yes, sir.
And then it was when you testified that when you were coming down from the accident, and I guess you touched your leg or side, that you remembered these two images, two moments in time.
Yes, sir. He was trailing his hand up and down my body, and I started to have flashbacks from the night before.
And that would have been early morning on Sunday, the 7th.
Yes, sir.
So even, you never made any kind of continuous memory of it?
No, sir. Those are the only recollections that I have of that night.
I just want to clarify, and I think I understand what you're saying, and I know it's been a while. But you talked about Tanner got up and was taking the shed.
Yes.
And he was talking to you about what's wrong, that sort of thing.
Yes.
And you were able to get someone who's going to come and pick you up.
Yes, sir.
And at that point, he was between you and the door, but you're still happy.
Yes.
And then he continues to pace around and you leave.
Yes.
He did not follow.
No.
I don't think you ever stated that you thought that he was intentionally blocking you, he was just in your way.
He was standing in front of the door, and when I asked for the address, he told me that he wouldn't give it to me until I talked to him. So I would classify that as trying to prevent me from leaving, yes.
But you were able to walk out and get involved.
Yes, sir.
Your friend Taylor Bell's mother came in.
Yes, sir.
And you went out to the car.
Yes.
And she went inside and came out and drove you to Taylor's house.
Correct.
And you did not tell her what had happened.
I did not tell her the details, but she knew a little bit about that morning. Are you referring to her mother specifically with that question? Yes.
So whatever you told her mother that morning, she didn't follow it.
Correct.
And you testified that Cody Spiker was around Kansas.
Yes, sir.
And he was dating someone younger than that.
I believe so, yes, sir.
And also stated before that Taylor Bell's boyfriend was someone that's too old for her.
There was a age gap between them, yes, but not 7 years.
And I believe you had stated before that there was another young lady named Woodard who was dating Roman into.
Yes, sir.
This is all in this little friend group.
I wouldn't say that my friend Taylor was friends with them per se, but yes, there were other women, other teenage girls that were hanging around with Cody and Tanner.
I want to talk a little bit about Tanner and his communication back then. You have previously stated that he would say he's off the wall.
Yeah.
And that he wouldn't recognize when a conversation was meant to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
He had kind of an erratic energy.
I would say that, yes.
Didn't understand social cues.
Speculation, but yeah.
Well, I don't want you to speculate. I mean, your experience with him and seeing him in a group social setting, did you ever notice him get trouble picking on social cues?
I would say that he was weird, but as far as being able to pick up on social cues, specifics, we only had a handful of interactions with other people, so I would say yes, but I have limited experience with that.
What about his appropriateness in conversation?
I mean, he was having conversations with me about his rape fantasies when I was 16, so I would say that he was very inappropriate in his conversations.
You said the bulk of your conversations you had with him were centered around music and Doctor Who and things like that?
That was how he began our interactions, yes, was by talking about Doctor Who and music.
That's all I have. Okay.
Redirect.
These recollections you have are the same ones you've been talking about since 2018?
Yes, sir.
Are they the same ones that Town Hall tried to shut you up about in 2018?
Yes, sir.
After this happened, and up until today, how is this event, how has what Town Hall did to you affected you?
I lost my sense of self for years. I became very erratic in my behaviors while also losing all sense of voice for myself. I was angry. I was angry at everybody and at everything. I ended up getting into an abusive relationship that lasted 4 years.
Let's keep it question and answer.
Once this happened to Athena, how did you feel differently than you did before?
I felt like I had been put back into 16-year-old me's body. I felt guilt for not coming forward. I felt shame for not speaking up sooner, legally speaking. I felt a lot of pain reliving those memories over and over and over again, as well as thinking about the amount of pain that other people have experienced at the hands of him over and over and over again. I am now back in therapy. I've struggled with opening up to people, communicating effectively, because I don't feel like I will be heard, because I go back to that 16-year-old version of me.
Mr. Goble.
Ms. Moore, when you say that he was trying to silence your aware of this message, and he says, basically denies the rape happened, and asks you to stop spreading lies and misinformation about what happened. Is that correct?
That is what he messaged me, correct?
Mr. Stingman. That's where we are. May Ms. Moore be excused subject to any potential recall? May she be excused subject to any recall? Thank you, ma'am.
That is what he messaged me, correct?
Mr. Stingman. That's where we are. May Ms. Moore be excused subject to any potential recall? May she be excused subject to any recall? Thank you, ma'am. Our next witness will be testifying remotely, so it's going to take me a few minutes to set the equipment up. So just give me a few minutes, we'll try and get it started, and we'll
is coming from this camera right here. Okay. The names of Henson and Callahan are observers to the testimony. They will not be saying anything. Lisa Morton's IP is Ms. Morton's cell phone, so she can hear well. And the last one is this thing right here. Okay. So just pay attention to the upper two where you see the video, and we'll do everything will be just fine. We'll dim the lights. If you would raise your right hand for me, please, ma'am. You solemnly swear or affirm testimony given this cause to be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. Whose witness is this? Mr. Barrett, you may proceed.
Ms. Ferrara, I'm raising my hand out here if you can see me. You kind of have a bird's eye view of the courtroom, is that correct?
Correct.
There's a little bit of delay, so I'm going to ask a question and then I'll give you time to answer. And if you do the same, that'd be great. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you. First of all, I just want you to introduce yourself to the jury, state your name, and then I'll ask you some questions. If you spell your first and your last name, and if you've ever been known by another name, you can say that as well, spell your first and last name.
My name is Jacqueline Ferrara. It is spelled JACQUELINESERRARA. My name during the time of my analysis for this case was Jacqueline Winston, and that is WINSTON.
Thank you. So, on this case, at the time, I'm going to say the date of December 2nd, February of 2023, when you've been known by Jacqueline Winston.
Correct.
And on that date, was there some items that were brought to the DPS Garland Crime Lab that were then taken out of the box, and the process of at least preparing those items for analysis, did you have a part in that?
Yes, I did. I have the lab submission forms with the items that were submitted for my analysis, and that was dated February 21st of 2023.
February 21st, 2023, and does it say the printed name of the person that delivered those items to the Garland DPS lab?
Yes, it says that it was Job Espinoza who dropped off the evidence.
Thank you. Now,
Mhm.
I want to talk, before we go into what you did on the case, I want you to tell the jury about your background and your education that qualified you to be, to have the job at the DPS Garland Crime Lab that you had at that time.
I received my bachelor's of science degree in biological sciences and have fulfilled the completed coursework required by the FBI's quality assurance standards in order to be a forensic testing analyst. I am also licensed, or I was at the time of my employment, I was licensed by the Texas Forensic Science Commission as a licensed forensic biology screener. During my employment at the Department of Public Safety Crime Lab in Garland, I was employed from, it was November of 2020 to December of 2024. After my employment, I underwent a series of training modules in order to prepare myself to be a forensic biology screener and a DNA analyst.
And on this particular case, you said that you had a copy of the Garland lab submission, is that correct?
Yes, the submission form, correct.
And I'm going to ask the approach, Your Honor, just so I can show on the video.
Okay.
Ms. Ferrara, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification purpose now as State's Exhibit number 297. That is a 1, 2, 3, 4-page document, three with the items listed, and then the original cover sheet. Oh, it's upside down? Oh, there you go. All right. So can you see that now? Is it upside down?
Yes. It's upside down for me.
Okay, is it upside down now?
No, it's right side up.
Okay. I was trying to watch up there on the screen. So for you, is this a true and correct copy, does it appear to be from your perspective, of the document that you have in your possession, which is also a true and correct copy of the lab submission in this case?
It would appear that the first page looks similar to the document that I own that is also 4 pages.
And I would just ask if the defense would be willing to stipulate, based upon the pretrial hearings in December on this case, that this is one and the same document.
Your Honor, in interest of judicial economy, I will stipulate these are the same documents. I trust Mr. Ferry's.
Thank you, Mr. Scobell. Appreciate that.
Now, with regard to this case, before I sit down, I want to identify a couple of more documents. First of all, you issued 2 lab reports related to this case, is that correct?
Correct.
And the first one, I believe, was issued on March the 16th of 2023, and entitled the DNA Male Screening Laboratory Report, is that right?
Correct.
And I'm going to show you what's now been marked as State's Exhibit number 298, and ask you, at least as far as the front page, if that appears to be that same document.
It does.
And then next, I'm going to show you another lab report that was issued on June 14th of 2023, entitled Biology Laboratory Report. And show you that's now been marked as State's Exhibit number 300. Can you see that?
Yes.
Does that appear to be the same as the one that you issued in this case as well?
Yes, it does.
Now, Ms. Farrar, with regard to these items, before I offer them into evidence, I want to kind of talk about what you did in this case. Can you give just a brief, I'm going to let you talk as much as I can, to just tell us sort of the progression of the things that you did in this case. Let's just start with the first thing that you did in this case, once you were assigned to do your first lab report.
So my first lab report is this DNA male screening lab report. When I was first assigned to this case, I had retrieved the evidence that was stored inside of the locked and secure DNA vault. The first thing I had to do was to enter into the larger package of evidence, which is itemized as Exhibit 01, which is a large brown box. Inside of this box, I had to retrieve the right buccal swabs and left buccal swabs from Tanner Lynn Horner in order to cut and retain those to be used as references.
And
After,
sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
no, you're fine, keep up. Okay. After I had cut Exhibit 0101AA, which is right buccal swab 1 from Tanner Lynn Horner. I retained the right buccal swab 2, left buccal swab 1, and left buccal swab 2, as well as Exhibit 0112AA, which was the blood card from the victim. I cut a portion of the blood card for DNA analysis to be used as a reference for the victim, and I retained the remainder of that blood card. After those known samples were cut and retained, I then was able to enter into the sexual assault kit from Athena Presley Monroe Strand and start my analysis for this male screening procedure.
And what is entailed with doing the male screening procedure with regard to those items?
So the male screening procedure is a procedure that I believe now is phased out of the lab, so DPS does not do this analysis anymore. But it is a rough estimate of how much total human DNA and male DNA is present on items of evidence from a sexual assault kit. So it allows us to very quickly get an estimate and a determination of which swabs, specifically inside a sexual assault kit, would be eligible and beneficial for further DNA testing.
And with regard to the sexual assault kit from the body of Athena Presley Monroe Strand, did you do that analysis?
Yes, I did.
And explain how that analysis was conducted, please.
So upon opening the sexual assault kit, I itemized the 3 swabs that were present inside, or the 3 sets of swabs. There were vaginal swabs, which are itemized as Exhibit 0201. Exhibit 0202 are anal swabs from Athena Presley Monroe Strand, and Exhibit 0203 are the oral swabs from Athena Presley Monroe Strand.
And
so in order to
go ahead.
In order to start the analysis for this DNA male screening procedure, I opened up each swab box that was labeled properly with the case number for the case, my initials, and the date of examination, and a small portion from the tips of the swabs were cut and placed into a labeled tube that would then be placed on a barcoded plate and used for the lab analytical side of the DNA male screening procedure.
May I ask you a follow-up question on that?
Yes.
I want to talk about the swabs from the defendant, the blood card, and then these 3 swabs from the sexual assault kit. When you cut those, do you cut the entire item up, or is there part of it that's still retained for further testing if needed?
When a swab is cut, so a buccal swab from the suspect, when that is cut, only half of one swab is used for that DNA analysis. That leaves the remainder of that one swab for any future testing, as well as the other 3 buccal swabs from the defendant.
Okay. What about with the blood card from the victim?
Yes. With the blood card specifically, the blood card has 4 spots of red-brown staining that was taken from the ME blood standard. I only cut a 5 millimeter by 5 millimeter section for DNA analysis, and the entire rest of that card is retained frozen for any future analysis.
And now with regard to the 3 swabs from the sexual assault kit.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the same?
So exhibit...
Sorry, I cut you off.
It's okay. Exhibit 0201, which are the vaginal swabs, there were 2 cotton swabs inside of the closed swab box. So from those 2 cotton swabs, the swab tips were cut and placed into a tube for male screening. That is the same for Exhibit 0202, the anal swabs, and Exhibit 0203, the oral swabs. So I would estimate about 80% of these swabs are left for any future testing. We only take maybe 15 to 20% of the swab from the very tip of the cotton swab for male screening.
Understood. So go forward from that point. Now you've cut the tips of the swabs. Tell us what you do next.
So after the swab tips are cut, they are placed into a labeled tube and put on a labeled plate as well. Another analyst can then take this plate with the samples inside, and they will add the different chemicals needed during this male screening procedure. So male screening, or a rough definition, the procedure is where we will add chemicals that will extract any cells present in the sample to release DNA from inside of those cells or other cellular debris. Once the DNA is in solution, more chemicals are added to those samples and moved to other instruments to start what is called this quantification process. And that is where we will get the data from male screening for my report as well, where it will let us know how much total human DNA is present in the sample, as well as how much male DNA in along with it. It will also let us know if there are any quality indicators associated with the data or if there's anything that needs to be looked into further. For this report, there was no quality indication errors associated with the data, and I had normal results for all 3 of these swabs.
So with regard to the results themselves, are those listed on your lab report that we previously identified as State's Exhibit number 298?
Yes.
Now, before I offer that in evidence, I want to talk to you about State's Exhibit 297, the lab submission. When you went to retrieve these items originally and open the box, did you just get the things that you immediately needed out, or did you take some steps with regard to the other items as well?
So in order to retrieve the buccal swabs from the suspect as well as the known blood card from the victim, I had to itemize and take note of the rest of the items of packaging and evidence that were inside of Exhibit 01, which is a large brown box. So a portion of my notes for this male screening lab report included notes describing the packaging details and labeling on these other items of evidence that were inside of Exhibit 01.
And for those items, other than the ones that we've already talked about, what did you list with regard to those items?
All of those items are reported as this item was not examined on my report.
Okay. So we can look at just, this report really just pertains to the buccal swabs from Tarrant County, the blood card from Athena Strand, and then the 3 sets of swabs from the sexual assault kit. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. So now I'm going to ask it, when you itemize those reports, or those itemize those items, including the ones that said this item not examined, was that from the items that were listed on the lab report that you previously identified as State's Exhibit number 297?
Those other items are, they are itemized, I think, further on the later biology laboratory report. These are just itemized so that they are given an item number and I can label the items of evidence inside while I retrieve the other swab.
All right, thank you. Now, let's talk, I'm going to go ahead and offer into evidence, Your Honor, at this time, State's Exhibit number 297, which is the lab submission report, and State's Exhibit number 298, which is the DNA male screening laboratory report.
All right, State's Exhibits 297 and 298, is that correct, Mr. Berry?
Yes, sir.
Are admitted.
Now, Ms. Ferrara, with regard to the lab reports themselves, would your name be listed as Winston rather than Ferrara?
Yes, on this DNA male screening lab report, my name is listed as Jacqueline Winston.
And then, so on this report, now that we have it admitted into evidence, I'd like you to tell us what the results were, first of all, from the vaginal swabs from Athena Presley Monroe Strand.
Exhibit 0201, vaginal swabs from Athena Presley Monroe Strand. The report indicates that male DNA was detected on this item utilizing the Plexer HY quantification system. This item was collected and retained.
And can you explain a little further what the Plexor HY quantification kit or system is?
The Plexer HY quantification kit is just a box that contains all of the chemicals that we use during this male screening lab procedure.
Now, with regard to the anal swabs from Athena Presley Monroe Strand, what were your findings for the anal swabs?
Exhibit 0202, anal swabs from Athena Presley Monroe Strand. Male DNA was detected on this item utilizing the Plexer HY quantification kit. Due to the presence of high amounts of total DNA relative to the amount of male DNA present, the sample was not processed for autosomal SGR analysis. Trace evidence was collected. The collected trace evidence has been packaged with the evidence. No further trace analysis was conducted at this time.
So for vaginal swabs 0201, male DNA was detected, correct? And for anal swabs, O2, male DNA was detected as well.
Male DNA was detected, yes.
Now, with regard to O2, O3, the oral swabs from Athena, Presley, Monroe Strand, can you tell the jury what your finding was with regard to those items?
The results from the report for Exhibit 0203 oral swabs from Athena, Presley, Monroe Strand was that the detection of male DNA on this item was inconclusive utilizing the Plexer HY quantification kit due to the low male quantification value.
Now, does that absolutely mean that those items cannot be further tested?
No. Any items that are positive for male DNA or are inconclusive, like the oral swabs, they are retained, frozen, and can be definitely used for further DNA testing downstream.
Now, that didn't and wouldn't have involved you in that process, correct?
Correct. I did not proceed along with the DNA analysis for those samples. That was another analyst who performed that work.
Now let's talk about the itemization of these other things that were taken out. Is that documented in what has been marked and referred to so far as State's Exhibit number 300, the biology lab report issued on June 14, 2023?
Yes, that biology lab report has more information for all the other items that were itemized from inside of that large brown box.
And when you itemize these, do you also not only say what they are, but where they were recovered from, if possible?
In the names for some of these items, I will use the information that was provided to the lab via the lab submission form. I also note in my own personal lab notes that any labeling that was present on the packaging that could also help us indicate any other details such as location where the item could be found.
Your Honor, at this time, I will offer into evidence State's Exhibit number 300, the biology laboratory report.
State's Exhibit 300 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, with regard to this lab report, I just want to kind of walk through each item and what you did and what your findings were. So let's talk in general sense. When you encounter these items, does your action depend upon what that item is, or is it the same for each item? Can you kind of explain that?
Yes. So when I was performing this forensic biology screening on these items, for clothing items, there is usually the same kind of screening procedure that we will follow. If there are other items that are not typically standard, then those can be screened and approached in a different manner. For the most part of this evidence, they were articles of clothing. So for every article of clothing, they are first tape lifted. And a tape lift is just a method to collect any trace evidence that may be present on the article of clothing. So tape is used all over that article of clothing to collect any trace evidence that's present, and then those are sealed and properly packaged in another envelope in case additional trace analysis is preferred and performed later on to that item. After trace analysis is performed, if an article of clothing is needed to be tested for semen, which was the case for this evidence, then all the articles of clothing were viewed using an alternate light source to hopefully identify any possible stains that we should test for semen. Any ALS positive stains were noted and tested using a semen presumptive test, as well as...
Hold on for a second. May I stop you and ask you to explain what you mean by, I think you said ALS positive, is that right? Can you explain that?
Yes. So ALS positive refers to an alternate light source. So we use an alternate light source. The wavelength, I believe, of the lab is 455 nanometers. You've probably seen it in crime shows where they'll use something like a black light to hopefully identify bodily fluids or other stains. So we use a specific wavelength in the lab to hopefully identify any stains that could be tested for semen or other bodily fluids.
All right, so then I stopped you. So once you've done that, what's the next step?
So any ALS positive stains that fluoresce would be tested with a presumptive semen test. If the presumptive semen test was positive, then I would move on to a confirmatory semen test, which would be to actually make a slide and try to visualize sperm cells for that sample. Aside from semen testing, the article of clothing is also visually examined to identify any possible blood stains as well on the item. So if any blood stains are visualized, or any possible blood stains are visualized, they are also tested with a presumptive blood test as well. Any positive stains would be collected and noted and retained for any future DNA testing, along with any positive semen stains as well from that article of clothing.
And before we talk about the results on the individual items, when you say that a positive stain would be retained, how would that be retained?
So that would depend on the size of the stain as well as the thickness or density of stain. So if any stain reacted positive to a presumptive blood test, that would be cut out from an article of clothing if it is in a size that would fit inside of the baggies we use at the lab that would fit in the freezer. It would be cut. If the stain is too large, then a portion of that stain would be cut out from the article of clothing, and then the remainder of the stain would remain on that item of evidence, which would still be secured in the locked vault after testing was performed.
So let's talk about your findings. So O1, item O1, you said was what?
It is a large brown box that was submitted to the lab.
And what is item O1, O2?
Exhibit 102 is itemized as the FedEx polo from suspect's property.
And was the presumptive testing done on this?
Yes. Presumptive testing for the presence of blood was performed, as well as testing for semen that included presumptive testing as well as an actual sperm search.
And can you explain the findings?
Presumptive testing for the presence of blood was positive. Semen was detected. Trace evidence was detected or collected, The collected trace evidence has been packaged with the evidence. No further trace analysis was conducted at this time. And then I reported that samples were collected and retained for possible DNA analysis.
With regard to the semen, if it had just been a presumptive positive, but actual semen had not been located, how would it have been notated in your report?
It would have been notated similarly to the presumptive blood results. It would have said that presumptive testing for the presence of semen was positive, but no spermatozoa was detected.
But in this case, what did it list regarding the semen?
It said that semen was detected.
Now let's talk about O1, O3. What was that?
Exhibit 0103 is itemized as the gray sweatshirt from suspect's property.
And let's just talk about, without regard to the trace evidence or whether you kind of generally told us what would happen with all the samples based upon what you found. So let's just talk about the findings related to blood and the findings related to semen on these items as we go through them. So O103, the gray sweatshirt from the suspect's property.
Presumptive testing for the presence of blood was negative. Semen was detected.
O104, a multicolored sock from the suspect's property.
No stains having the appearance of blood were observed. Presumptive testing for the presence of semen was negative. There is an additional reporting statement on here too. It says that swabs were collected from this item and retained for potential DNA analysis. That is another type of analysis that we can perform on clothing in addition to the presumptive test that I have noted on previously. I collected swabs from this article of clothing, this multicolored sock, to hopefully collect any potential skin cells that could indicate who that sock possibly belonged to. So in this case, in addition to tape lifting the sock, looking for any positive ALS stains to test for semen and presumptive blood tests, that item was also swabbed, and the swabs were retained for any potential further DNA analysis.
All right, next, the O105, the white and green Hanes underwear from the suspect, found on the suspect property.
Presumptive testing for the presence of blood was negative. Presumptive testing for the presence of semen was negative. And swabs were collected from this item and retained for potential DNA analysis.
All right, now O106, is that one item or multiple items?
0106 is one item. It is a medium brown paper bag, but inside of that brown paper bag, there were 2 items inside.
The first one is listed as 0106-AA, is that correct?
Correct.
And what was that?
That is itemized as blue jeans from suspect's property.
And what was the findings on that?
Presumptive testing for the presence of blood was positive. Presumptive testing for the presence of semen was negative. Samples were collected and retained for possible DNA analysis.
And 0106-AD, the second item from 0106?
It is itemized as a multicolored sock from suspect's property. No stains having the appearance of blood were observed. Presumptive testing for the presence of semen was negative. Swabs were collected from this item and retained for potential DNA analysis.
And I think I'm going to just go over the rest, any items where you have positive findings, other than to just name them what they are. So the next item, 0107, the FedEx Polo from Tanner Lynn Corner, were there any findings positive related to that?
No.
0108, black and gray socks from Tanner Lynn Corner?
No.
0109, jeans from Tanner Lynn Corner?
Yes.
Can you explain what the findings were with regard to those jeans labeled as 0109?
Presumptive testing for the presence of blood was positive and semen was detected.
And what was done as far as collecting samples from that item, the jeans?
Those samples that were positive were collected and retained for possible DNA analysis.
And is it, are there multiple samples that can be collected from the same item, potentially?
Yes.
Explain that, please.
So according to the Department of Public Safety Crime Lab's policy regarding death penalty cases and capital murder cases, every positive sample that can be used for further DNA testing has to be collected and retained. In other cases, not every single positive stain would maybe be retained and sent for DNA analysis, but DPS has a specific and different policy for these types of cases. So every single positive sample and positive stain that was identified and collected from these items of evidence were stored frozen, and I believe, you would have to confirm with the DNA analyst, but I believe they were all additionally sent forward for DNA testing.
All right, thank you. Now let's talk about item number 01-10. What was that and what was the results?
Exhibit 0110 were black Hanes underwear from Tanner Lane Corner. Presumptive testing for the presence of blood was negative. Semen was detected. Samples were collected and retained for possible DNA analysis.
All right, let's go on to 0112 AB and AC. What were those?
0112 AB were right hand fingernail clippings and clipper from Athena Presley Monroe Strand. And exhibit 0112 AC were the left hand fingernail clippings from Athena Presley Monroe Strand.
And were swabs collected and retained for DNA analysis on both of those items?
Correct. Those swabs were also presumptively tested for the presence of blood.
And was one of them positive for the presence of blood?
Yes. Exhibit 0112 AB, the right hand fingernail clippings and clipper, were presumptively tested and they were positive for the presence of blood.
What about the other swab? I mean, the other
Mm-hmm.
hand?
Exhibit 0112 AC from the left hand, the presumptive testing for the presence of blood was negative.
But as you said, the swabs were still collected and retained and sent forward. Is that right?
Correct. So these were fingernail clippings from the ME's office. So they were sent the actual clippings from the victim. So these clippings themselves were retained, frozen and stored, and the actual swabbing that I personally took inside the lab from these clippings were also retained, frozen, and stored.
Right, let's talk about 0113. I believe that's green bungee cords from truck. Is that right?
Yes.
We don't have this in front of us right now, but in your lab notes, do you often take pictures and show the items where if you collect swabs, where you collected the swabs from?
Yes, I do.
And are there sometimes different swabs that are collected, say, from the end of the set of bungee cords versus the middle of the set of bungee cords?
Yes, it sometimes depends on the case and the suspected way in which the evidence could have been used. But yes, in this case, I took photos and detailed notes to describe where and why I had swabbed that specific item differently.
Now, what was the findings as far as the presumptive test for that item, 0113?
Presumptive testing for the presence of blood was negative, and swabs were collected from the item and retained for potential DNA analysis.
What about 0114, the black bungee cords from the truck?
No stains having the appearance of blood were observed.
Were swabs nonetheless collected?
Yes.
And let's go on to 0115. 0115, I believe, has 10 different items associated with 0115. Is that right?
Yes.
And all of those are taken from where?
According to the information on the submission form, those are all swabs that were collected from inside of the truck.
Okay. And does it state, I'm not going to have you read it, but does it state for each of those swabs where those swabs came from within the truck?
Yes, there is a general location for where those swabs were collected.
And on any of those, was it presumptive testing for blood or semen positive on any of those swabs?
No, they were all negative for blood and semen.
But nonetheless, were those swabs still sent forward for further testing?
They were all collected and retained. You can confirm with the DNA analyst if they were for sure sent forward for DNA testing, as that had occurred after I left the lab. But it is the policy that those would have been sent forward for DNA testing.
And then finally, I think there was just a folded piece of toilet paper that was collected as 0116. Did you do the same testing procedures on that?
Yes, I presumptively tested for blood and semen, and they were both negative.
Now, as part of your duties with, well, let me ask you this first. Ms. Ferrara, did you leave, what was the reason you left the DPS Garden Crime Lab?
I had just delivered my daughter, and my husband and I made a personal decision that I would stay home with her instead and resign.
Okay. And how old is your daughter now?
18 months.
And do y'all live in Texas or do you live in a different state?
We relocated to Kansas.
And is that why you're testifying by Zoom today?
Yes, that's part of the reason.
Okay. Now, with regard to your further duties on this case, were you asked to put together or involved in putting together a list of items that might potentially be depleted with further testing?
Yes, I did.
And what was the purpose of that?
At the end of my biological testing, I had put together a list for the agents working on the case of any items that had positive samples that could be used for DNA analysis, and of those samples, which samples would potentially be depleted during said DNA analysis. This was so that the agents in charge could potentially get a court order for any DNA testing where samples would be depleted, as that is required by DPS policy.
And so, because of this policy with DPS, the court has to issue a specific order to further test those items. Is that right?
Yes.
And part of the reason why death penalty cases take longer is to comply with this requirement so that you can get agreement from the parties if possible, or at least have the court look over and determine where that testing should take place, correct?
Correct.
Say, jury will disregard the last answer.
Ms. Ferrara, I want to thank you for your time and your work on this case, and I will pass the witness now.
Cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. Hello, Ms. Ferrara, good to see you again. So,
yes, hi.
A couple of quick questions. You were not the person who collected the swabs, right?
Are you referring to the swabs from the truck?
Well, any of these, you weren't out there and collecting these came to you, right?
Correct. Any evidence that was submitted to the lab that were swabs, I did not collect it. I had taken swabs from certain items of evidence as part of my own testing, and those were collected by me and retained frozen.
Yes, and some of these things were stains and things like that. You don't have any way of knowing how old the stain is, right?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that last bit?
I said you wouldn't have any way of knowing how old the stain is on the item you received.
Correct. I cannot determine the age of the stain.
And it's the same for any DNA on that item. You would have no way of knowing when it was deposited on the item.
Correct.
Now, it's a little confusing when you're talking about the quantification kit. That's not to calculate how much DNA is present, is it?
So the Plexer HY quantification kit that I mentioned for the DNA male screening lab report, that estimates total human DNA, so autosomal DNA, as well as total male DNA present in those swabs from the sexual assault kit.
Okay, so if there are calculations in the bench notes as to that number, that would have been you that calculated it or someone else?
The number that we get for the quantification values for the male screening lab report, that is calculated through a software that we use in combination with the Plexer HY quantification chemicals for that process. So it is an estimate. It is not an exact, precise calculation, but it is a very close, rough estimate of how much total human DNA is present in that sample and how much male DNA is present as well. It's just to give us a good guide on which samples would be beneficial for any further future DNA testing.
Okay, and can you clarify when you're talking about the presumptive testing for semen, and you also mentioned viewing under a microscope for spermatozoa. That's, you have your presumptive testing, but then to actually follow up on that, you have to do the microscopic viewing, correct?
Yes, the DTS policy for testing for semen and sperm cells are to go ahead and perform what's called a sperm search using a slide with a portion of the sample. So that is only performed on samples that are positive, presumptively positive for semen. That would be the next step in that case to confirm whether that stain is actually semen or not.
And is that step done at the stage you were working on, or was that farther down the process?
That was part of my procedure in the lab.
I'll pass it away, John.
Redirect. No further questions, Your Honor.
May this witness be excused?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, ma'am. We appreciate it.
Goodbye.
Let me see, counsel.
Okay, Jen, obviously let me start off. I'm Tanya Iser, Senior Investigative Reporter here at Channel 8. I've got Jen Falk with me. She's been with us all day. She's former child abuse prosecutor, former sexual assault prosecutor. We've been listening to this testing of this evidence, looking for blood and semen. Just what your assessments of what we've heard so far?
Surprising, not surprising, right? So surprising in that I feel like every time we take a turn on this case, it actually manages to get worse. Not surprising in that this, I believe, is what was alluded to in opening statement. And we've all been waiting with bated breath to see what the prosecutor meant when he said that there was DNA where DNA doesn't belong.